Alright. Hi, y'all. My brain hurts, and I feel like the best remedy for that is to play a game that makes my brain hurt in a good way. Counteract the bad brain hurt with the good one, I guess. So we're back with more of the Great Ace Attorney. In the final fucking case, still in the investigation, but I feel like that's gonna change soon. They can't hold me in the investigation forever. We already did that. We're not doing it again. So, yeah. Last time, a lot of shit went down. Herlock nearly fucking died. Some other people did end up dying, and that's what we're here for, to figure out how they died and make sure that the people who aren't guilty, you know how it goes, I think it's actually new territory for me. Nice. Well, I don't know if that's the... I'm just glad that my audience is, at least some of my audience doesn't know everything. I don't know. That's just always a fun experience. Just having a couple people along for the ride. But how about we stop waffling around and get into the investigation of episode 5. Well, more of the investigation. We already started. April 16th. All right. We're back in the pawnbrokers. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Hey, Luigi. Now thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go home and get some rest.
Here you are, Grancy. Here are the representation papers.
Your ladyship! Ow! I don't believe it! How the devil did you get that stubborn little ragabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work, that is. God damn.
I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue.
I could use that. Well, wait, I have water. I could just do drinking sounds, but eh. Lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes, I hardly feel tired at all. I'm as fit as a fiddle, your ladyship. Would it be alright if we investigate the scene of the crime, then? Do as you please. You know where it happened? Through that door behind the counter. Yeah, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windibank and Gina. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then. Will you be investigating in the storeroom as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. But there are so many articles to go through, it's taking forever, even with the lads working around the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case the yard needs to investigate urgently. That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before. So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, sunshine.
Come then, let us not waste any time.
Alright. First things first. Let's look around here.
Whoop. These shelves are where the pawnbroker puts articles that have been forfeited on display for customers to buy.
Yes, it's a really strange miscellany. Miscellaneous. It's a really strange miscellany, isn't it? I mean, who would buy this horse statue, for example?
Well, sometimes you can find some real treasures among all the junk, you know? Are you alright, Runo?
Oh, it's just, well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole, but when you pick out individual things, you can't help wishing you owned them. Even that horse statue.
That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever.
Fair enough. Is that strange contraption that lets you see pictures of things as if they're right in front of your eyes. It makes you think. When Mr. Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday, we were blissfully unaware that any of this was about to happen. Yeah.
That's a music box. Do you have them where you come from, Runo?
Yeah, but I've never seen one as large as this in Japan.
Oh, well, this'll be a treat. Shall we have a listen?
Sure.
What do you think? Isn't it a pretty sound?
It's a beautiful sound, yes, but it's a little hard to enjoy when all the policemen in the room are giving you fierce looks.
Never mind that. If any of them saw anything, I'll tell Greggsy to have a word.
Alright, Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. What was the deal with this thing, anyway? I'm fairly sure his contraption was here yesterday as well. Here we are, though I'm not confident I can get it closed again.
Oh, yes, that's a folding stereoscope.
Really? This is a stereoscope? Mr. Sholmes showed us a picture yesterday that you were supposed to be able to see in 3 dimensions, but for that he used the great big contraption over there.
Oh, well, that's for use in public houses and places like that. It contains a carousel with all sorts of pictures inside. This little thing is a much simpler design for use at home. There are special shops selling prints you can use in them. I have a little collection myself.
I wonder if I can make money out of these in Japan. It'd be keeping my toilet sparkling clean anyway. Anyway, hey, wait a minute! I noticed that while we were in that conversation, I just didn't want to say anything until we were done.
Ah, look here.
Ah, yes, a bullet hole. And I can see this bullet is still lodged in the wall.
Presumably, Mr. Windibank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time.
Ah, well, Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that.
Sorry?
It's all there in the Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, you know? Isn't that right, Iris? Did I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. In jest? Well, he doesn't do it often. It's quite a dangerous pastime.
He doesn't do it often? He shouldn't even do it once!
Forget that for now, Runo. Let's examine this bullet. What's that around the bullet hole? Is it blood?
A suspicious red stain on the cat. Yeah, I think it's blood, Ryu.
Aha! I may well be able to help with that.
What?
There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there, Runo?
I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris.
I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it, you see? When it comes to blood, we're all different types.
Yes, what a scientific observation.
So you need this.
Oh no, what is that scary-looking thing?
Holly and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does. Watch.
Oh, heck? Oh shit, it turned green! Oh! The color of the bloodstain has changed!
There! Does it make sense now?
I think I'm starting to understand.
Good! It works on the principle of different people have different types of blood, you see? Yes, how wonderful!
As long as it's not pink. Damn it!
The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color. So you can identify whose blood it is that you're looking at in a flash. Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris. Isn't it? I bet Giddy would say it's bleeding great.
So, whose blood are we looking at then? We don't know.
Well, all the chemical does is turn the blood a different color, so just find someone whose blood turns the same color and you'll know who it belongs to in a flash.
It's more like 2 flashes, really, isn't it?
One flash or two, this could very well turn out to be a valuable clue. So we must make note of it in the court record.
The blood sample has been entered. A sample of blood analyzed with a special chemical indicator developed by Mr. Sholmes. Different people's blood turns different colors.
Let's keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio. As long as I have reagent left, sure.
So that's how we have, like, blood testing back in the olden days. Yeah, how they get around the technology and stuff. It's neat. There's the article ledger here and Mr. Windibank's notes, and... Huh? What's this? Looks like someone left a little photographic print behind. Didn't we see this last time, or am I hallucinating?
Oh, look on the back. There's some writing. Is there? Oh, show us, Susie. Show us.
Yeah, no, I saw that. Yeah, no, we saw this. Why is Ryu acting like we didn't see it before? 15th February, 10:30 p.m.
Article deposited, 1 gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline the 15th of April.
A gentleman's overcoat pawned for £1. Clearly, it was a very fine coat.
In fact, I think... Yes, this must be a ticket for the overcoat that Ginny remembered yesterday.
Don't remember the bloody fingerprint, though. Yeah, that's fair. It is still wearing, which belonged to Mr. McGilded. I would never have expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though.
It seems Mr. Windibank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have on hand.
But this photograph of a cat looks very familiar, doesn't? Yeah. I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently.
Oh, yes, you're right. Very recently. The same as the one Ginny gave us earlier.
Of course, I was forgetting that she gave us that print.
Well, what are you waiting for then, Mr. Naruhodo? Get it out.
All right. Let the cogs turn. Okay, so immediately I can tell, like, the cat is, like, facing in a slightly different direction on the one on the left. I'm not sure if I see anything else different, though. Like, the head is tilted slightly.
They're exactly the same. Heh, I've got it. These two photographs hide an amazing secret.
A secret? What does she mean?
You must tell us, Iris, at once. Do you really want to know?
Yeah, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. Alright, spill the deets. So Iris, about these two photographic prints, the one we found here on Mr. Windibank's counter and the one Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between these two prints?
Actually, that's not quite right.
Sorry?
If you look carefully, these two prints aren't the same. Not exactly.
They're not? Yeah, the cat.
Have another look at them now. Can you see it? They're just slightly different from each other.
I think so. It's very subtle, though.
Bum, 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 bum. But what's the reason for the subtle difference between the two prints, huh? Ah, well, it's because they are a set, you see.
No, I don't.
This pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment.
Ah, stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently?
Oh, yes. That's what Mr. Sholmes showed us yesterday.
Oh yes, the magic box.
You see, there it is, just over there.
Ah yeah, of course, that magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch.
Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those contraptions.
Really?
Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? No, I have no idea. Oh, wonderful, then I'll be able to tell you.
She's over the moon, bless her. Is that a thinker statue on the son of a bitch, I think it is. That is either a really subtle, like, Easter egg or just a really big coincidence, or a really tiny coincidence. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene. Technically, it would be Larry leave us alone, since he created the statue, if I'm remembering correctly. But, yeah, either way, the first game haunts us, and that's the point.
I, for one, simply have to know.
I can never escape him. Larry's just always around.
Like, you can't escape me. I'm watching.
All right, let's get back into this.
Have you ever considered, Runo, how our eyes see depth in the world around us?
Well, I just opened them and it works.
But the reason it works is because we have two eyes.
2 eyes. Shocking.
If you try closing just one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away. What you see with your left eye, what you see with your right eye.
I hope you'll find one of Larry's ancestors. Please don't jinx it. God, I don't know anything about 2, and that's the scary thing.
Are ever so slightly different. You get a different view with each eye. Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly, and in your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one.
I need to look up Larry's Japanese name now to make sure we haven't already run into it. Lawrence Larry Butts, known as Masashi Yahari in the original Japanese language versions. Okay, I don't think we've run into a Masashi Yahari yet, so okay. In your head, your brain uses that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one.
That's how we can sense depth in everything we see.
My brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me. I think I see. So the pair of photographs consists of a left eye view and a right eye view. Is that right?
Oh, well done, Susie. You're so quick.
So if you can persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together, you'd be able to see depth in these prints?
Yes, Bruno. You're beginning to understand.
And a stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to just do that?
Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes, and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all.
You can? Really?
Let's try it. Let's see if you can view this pair of prints without the help of a stereoscope. Oh yes, I'm dying to have a go.
Susato-san really loves this kind of thing.
You need to be able to cross your eyes, that's the main thing. Can you both do that?
No. Cross my eyes? I think I can.
Watch me and see if you can copy. Make your eyes do this. All right, let me try. Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? There, how's that? Wonderful, now it's your turn, Runo. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time.
Not exactly an easy task when two people are staring at you cross-eyed.
All right, that's enough practice. Now let's try looking at the prints. Start by staring at one print and slowly crossing your eyes. You should see two overlapping images like this.
So are we just not going to mention the blood thing on the back of one of them?
You try it now, Runo.
I'm just gonna have to give it a try, I suppose.
Did the print split into two images for you? Now, the next step is to put the pair side by side and then try crossing your eyes again.
They should slowly merge together until...
They form a new single image in the center. Oh, yes! Mr. Naruhodo, it works! I can see it in the middle now. It looks so real! I could look at it all day.
I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt.
Your turn, Runo.
Alright.
There! You managed it! So now you know how stereoscopic images work. Well, I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary. Bong! So what do you think of the stereoscopic prints then, Runo?
They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get into the knack of viewing them properly.
No, some people find it easier than others. But that's why contraptions like this exist, for people who find it tricky. Oh, I recognize that.
Yeah, it's the thing that we just picked up. Earlier, or we looked at, I guess. Press the knob and it opens, yeah. It's still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now.
Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently.
If these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them.
But it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in any case.
Stereoscopic pictures, I'd never heard of them until yesterday. We've certainly learned a lot about them, but I wonder if it's knowledge that I'll ever actually need. We also have another print just like this one. Okay. Let's rip the band-aid off right quick.
Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here.
I have noticed.
The red smear, you mean?
Yes, it looks like blood, doesn't it? I wondered if Susato-san picked up on that. Well, in that case,
Yes, we need Iris.
we should show this to her before we forget. Alright.
Oh, that looks like blood.
would say it's from a gloved finger. Almost certainly a glove made of leather.
Well, don't worry, Bruno. You can leave the rest to me.
Alright, and... oh! Purple!
Oh, look at that. Yes, that's a color we haven't seen before, isn't it? We simply must add it to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be an important clue. Although, it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point.
Well, this particular stain of blood...
Oh, you've had an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is?
I think I do. I'm just gonna go with him for a bit. There's two options. Yes, I have an idea whose blood it is. Not from the color it turned, but with a little deduction.
That's right, I think it's clear. Iris, you know as well? You first, Bruno. Who do you think it belongs to?
I believe this is the blood of Pop Windabank, Magnus McGilded, Gina Lestrade, the thrice-fired Mason. Wait. Wait, no, that kind of tracks, doesn't it? Wait, no, that kind of tracks. Yeah. Yeah, it's taking me a minute to get back into things because, like, you know, I'm doing this not in one go now, so I need to, like, remember things as they go along. But I think it might actually be the Mason. Because, like, wasn't it his coat or whatever on the ticket? And then, like, thrice-fired Mason?
You don't sound very sure of yourself the way you trailed off there.
Well, it was 2 months ago now, that case. And of course, I'd never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. He was definitely thrice-fired, though.
The victim of the omnibus case? Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. But that would mean that this bloodstain was left on the ticket 2 months ago.
Yeah? Yes, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Windabanks yesterday. I'm suggesting that the bloodstain was already on it at that time.
So it's a smear of blood from the time that Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago. Something else is coming back to me now.
Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night. Yeah.
Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I was to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. You know, this just kind of became the voice. I remember back when my voice was normal at the start of case 3.
It certainly does look like a leather-gloved thumbprint, this mark. But we know that Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time, anywhere on his body. From which we can conclude that any blood on the glove belongs to the victim, Mr. Mason.
Mr. Naruhodo, you sound just like Mr. Sholmes.
Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope.
Yes, I think you're right, Bruno. Very well, let's make a note of this.
The details of the pawnbroker's ticket have been updated. The blood on it has been identified as Mr. Mason's. Different people's blood turn different colors, yes, yes. I assume we have to examine this door before we can move back there, but I want to go back there now. Behind that door
is the storeroom, isn't it? That's what Gregsy said.
The music in this game is like, it's grown on me so hard. Like, it's... At first I didn't really think much of it, but like, it is frequently getting stuck in my head now. It's great. Yes, and that's where I saw that dreadful scene last night. Through the little window in the door. God, if I had the fucking... I'm sorry, but if I had the Danganronpa music, like when you discover a body, I totally would have just played that when fucking Windabank was just on the floor. But nah, that would just be killing the moment. Mr. Windabank face down on the floor with Gina beside him.
As the accused legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo.
We must make a thorough investigation. Yes, of course, and we will. Behind that door, that's the real scene of the crime.
Don't worry, if any clues are in there, I'll find them.
Okay, but wait, before we go in there, that's nothing? That really looked like something this whole time, and I was like, is that something? Is it? No? Okay. Let's go in then. Windibank's storeroom. The store where pawned items are kept until they're redeemed or forfeited. It's also where Mr. Windibank's body was discovered. Poor Iris. She's clammed up completely. Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Windibank's life was taken in this very room only last night. Luigi! Ah! Wait, Inspector!
What is it now, Sunshine?
You took one look at me and tried to run away, that's what.
You think a Scotland Yard inspector would run away from some jumped-up-a-little defense lawyer, do ya? Never seen her ladyship looking like that before, is the thing. I didn't know what to say to her.
So you weren't running away from me, you were running away from a 10-year-old. The music faded out and I'm back in, yeah. I'm afraid this is all a little much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector.
Eh?
Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship.
I mean, at least you're not dead, are you?
Bruh, you don't phrase it like that. I don't think that went very well.
Why?
Because you told a 10-year-old girl not to worry about death.
Look, I'm in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine, and I told you not to get under my feet.
And we have investigating to do ourselves. Yes. I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say.
Oh, howdy.
And inquire into how Mr. Sholm's operation is going. Hey. So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here?
Pshaw, you got eyes, haven't ya? Use 'em. It is what it looks like, nothing more, nothing less.
Iris, could you lend me a hand?
So, Gregsy, what do you make of the crime scene here?
Oh, yes, your ladyship, do allow me to humbly explain. Last night, at shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended the scene. The one and only door to the storeroom was found locked from the inside.
So it was locked from the inside.
The lock appears to be broken now, though. Was that the police officers doing?
Quite right, ma'am, quite right. We took the liberty of smashing the door in. As humbly as possible.
Oh.
As you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor, thus wise. And next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the vile gutter child.
Hey, easy. Easy on her, though.
Are you talking about Guinea? She's my friend, you know, Inspector.
Miss Lestrade, the hapless girl, was curled up on the floor, dead to the world.
She's still alive, you know. Yes, when I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious.
And I'm afraid to say she had the gun that was used in her hand.
No!
Presumably, it's the gun that's still down there on the floor now.
In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well.
What? The key to the storeroom?
And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside, Inspector?
Correct. All of which leaves her ladyship's friend in something of a sticky situation, I'm afraid. I don't know if I pointed out, but like, shoutouts to that like wonderful like animation loop on his on his chips that he's eaten. Like, the way he shakes them and they just, like, respawn. Like, it's just... it's just a really smooth, like, little detail. I love that.
Obviously, my personal opinion is that's all some sort of misunderstanding.
Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is. Tell me about my husband. I mean, my friend. I mean, my boyfriend. I mean, wait.
Gregsy, do you know anything about Hurley? Is the operation finished? Is Hurley alright? Is he?
The thing is,
Don't mince your words, Inspector. Please. You don't mean to say Mr. Sholmes is...
No. The operation's done and dusted. It's just that, well...
Out with it!
Yes, ma'am. They use something called a general anesthetic. It's the latest thing where there's the whole body insensitive.
The whole body anesthetized? Is that even possible?
It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep.
Goodness, in the Empire of Japan, we just managed to provide laughing gas for a tooth extraction.
The trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing, if you follow my meaning. They couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took him hours to nod off, or so I hear. Now that the op's finished, they can't get him to wake up, apparently.
Oh no.
Oh my!
No one knows if the anesthetic is still in his system or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. But anyway, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes around again.
Honey.
The moment he opens his eyes, your ladyship, I swear I shall get word to you.
What a surprise. Even in matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way.
Can you tell me about this?
No, wait, not this. The other one I was thinking of. Inspector. It's just there are two very similar pieces of evidence. They're just in the back of my head. I get them mixed up. What do you make of this?
What have we here then? A redemption ticket for an article deposited here, is it? Looks like someone ran out of office stationery and wrote the ticket on whatever paper was to hand. Yes, it's the ticket for my Gilded's overcoat, the one that little diver turned up with yesterday.
They do look nearly the exact same. Yeah, chances are I'm gonna fuck something up in the case with these two.
Oh, actually no, it's not. Really? Think you know better than me, do ya? No, I didn't mean to.
Bruno's right, Gregsy. It isn't the same ticket.
Of course it isn't. Of course it isn't. I have never doubted you, your ladyship. So, what's all this about then, if I might be so bold as to ask?
This is a second ticket.
A second one?
It seems that Mr. McGilded, in fact, had another article in storage here at Windabanks.
Is that right?
I think we need to discuss this further with the inspector, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, good, because he's ever so easy to talk to. All right, buddy. This ticket was in one of the pockets of Mr. McGilded's overcoat.
Eh? You mean to tell me...
Yes, there was more than just the music box disc, it seems.
I should have insisted on the lads taking it back to the yard and examining it properly.
Well, according to the details on this ticket, Mr. McGill deposited another article here with Mr. Windabank.
Yes, I can see it written here. A small box, was it?
Do you have any idea where it is, Gregsy? It's another article belonging to Mr. McGill. It could be an important clue.
Well, yes, I suppose it could be. Please stop looking at me with them big old eyes, all full of hope and expectations. It's too much pressure. I'll lose me marbles, I will. I'll go barking.
It's just no time for dog impressions, Inspector.
That's enough sauce from you, sunshine. There is one thing that springs to mind. According to this ticket, the redemption deadline's already passed, hasn't it?
Oh, yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months. So the small box will no longer be in here, then.
That's right, it's been forfeited.
Damn.
Which means it could be on the shelves in front of the shop where the forfeited items are offered for sale.
Yeah, the shelves in the front. We must search them at once.
You're wasting your time.
Oh?
There are dozens of little boxes out there, hundreds even. Can't possibly know which one might have been Gilded's. Information's not written in the ledger. Ugh.
Well, I think we should at least have a look, just in case.
Of course, your ladyship, of course. Very sensible of you, I'm sure. This is getting old.
Alright, well, I do want to look around here a little bit, because that chest in the back seems very interesting. Also, the bloodstain. We need to check that properly. Of all the articles in this storeroom, is the only thing that shows any sign of being ransacked. What is it, Iris?
That's the box file that my manuscript was being kept in.
Oh! Iris's unpublished story, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Surely that's not what all this...
Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling ya. We must check inside the box at once. Yes.
Please, please let it be in there. I want to have faith in Shirley. Hurley.
It was there. Iris's story was there.
Really? It was? Well, that's good news, isn't it, Iris?
Yes. I mean, of course I believed Hurley when he said he deposited it here, but still. It's a relief to actually see it.
Really? Because that's not a very well-hidden frown. Iris's manuscript has been entered into the court record, a long unpublished story that Mr. Sholmes deposited at the pawnbrokery of the victim, Mr. Windibank. It's entitled The Hound of the Baskervilles. Well, good to have closure on that. I inspect these shelves first, too. Look at all these articles that they have deposited. This room is stuffed full of them.
I can't believe how many there are. A bicycle, a gramophone, musical instruments, but even some enormous paintings, look.
Pieces of different people's lives, quietly gathering dust in here together. There's something very peaceful about the atmosphere in here. Or at least there would be, if not for a chalk outline on the floor and the policeman shuffling around.
Not much I can do about that, sunshine.
Alright. Let's examine the gun. This is a revolver. A real one.
And quite possibly the murder weapon used to take Mr. Windibank's life. What's the matter, Susie? You really look like you're about to faint. Well, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh.
And I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windibank with this yesterday, didn't we? Yeah, he was, yeah. I shall have to take my own life! It must be the same gun. I sincerely hope I feel like with the circumstances here, it literally could not have been a suicide. But like, fuck. The fact that I'm still thinking about that, Jesus. And last night, when I looked through the spy hole in the door into the storeroom here, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand.
Mr. Windibank told us that he only ever had a single bullet loaded in his revolver, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, it's empty now. The one and only bullet he had in his gun has been fired.
So we can be fairly certain that only a single shot was fired from this revolver. Alright, good to know. Bop, 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 bop. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line.
Poor Mr. Windibank, he was a nice old man.
Yeah, he was one of the more cooperative people around here, I'll say that, yeah. He was nice.
Well, he was just shot just once, through the heart. Most likely the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing.
Shit. This must be his blood then.
I don't like to ask at such a wretched time, Iris, but I wonder if perhaps... Don't worry, Susie. I'm ready for action. Boop.
All three of them are different colors, really.
So now we know the color of the chemical turns when it reacts with Mr. Windibank's blood. It doesn't match our analysis of the blood stain we found in the main shop. No, but let's add this sample to the others we've already collected anyway.
The blood samples portfolio has been updated in the court record. Okie dokie. Aw, shit.
Ah! I nearly jumped out of my skin there! How could Mr. Windibank set such a wicked trap?
I doubt he set out to scare anyone.
Is that really the time? I think perhaps we should pay Gina another visit soon.
Yeah. Oh?
Her trial is tomorrow. We must establish whether or not you will be defending her. I think we should ask her one more time. She might have changed her mind.
Maybe. I don't want to say anything just yet, but... Hopefully.
Don't you remember, Runo? You told her she could you told her she could rip up the representation papers. She didn't want you to be her lawyer.
Really? Did I say that?
Yes, you did. The deadline for submitting the paperwork is fast approaching.
In that case, we'd better hurry back to the prison and talk to Gina again. Alright, we're on the move. Hey, girl. Ah, Gina, good. You're back.
Duh! The police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it, Ginny? Was it awful?
Eh? Oh, didn't bother me. Thank you for the papers you signed before. It meant we were able to investigate at Windibank's.
Oh, right. Don't you want to know how we got on? We've been ever so busy. What's the point in asking? Won't change what everyone's saying. That I did it. That's not...
Gina, we came to ask for your final decision.
Eh? What decision, eh?
About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you or not?
I must submit the paperwork now if you'd like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right, I see.
She's really lost her fight all of a sudden. But I know what that feels like. The worry is just so hard to bear. Blip.
Oh, all right then. Blimey, give it a rest with them eyes, Iris. So come on then, fill us in. Who done it?
Unfortunately, we don't know that quite yet.
You don't say. We don't know yet, Gina. But Mr. Naruhodo and all of us know that you are innocent of this crime.
And while we haven't yet managed to work out who the real culprit is, there are a number of interesting facts that we've managed to establish.
Oh yeah? Like what?
Well, for example, the reason for you being there in the first place. I think I know now why you broke into Windibank's that night. Looks like I'm going to have to take some evidence that clearly reveals the reason and thrust it in Gina's face. Or I could present it to her calmly, I suppose. Boop, boop. Blip. We found this in Mr. Windibank's storeroom. The manuscript of Iris's latest story.
Oh, right, well, that's good then.
Curiously, the storeroom at Windibank showed no sign of being ransacked for items of value or the like, with one exception, the box file that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, Gina, who broke open the box containing this manuscript last night? You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of the Baskervilles was really there. That's the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, isn't it? Why don't you tell us what happened? Please. Shit, I usually do these things in order, but I kinda, well, oh well. Alright, yeah, this Baskerville story. It's the latest Sholmes adventure, right? But it ain't been printed yet. So I figured it's gotta be worth a fair few pieces of silver, right? Oh yes, at least 5,000 pounds. What? So, you intended to sell Iris's manuscript, did you? I don't think that was her motive, personally.
No, Ginny, how could you?
What? Wait, no, hang on! Of course I weren't gonna sell it. All I wanted to do was find out if the manuscript or whatever you called it really was there or not. That's the only reason I was in the place. For Iris's sake. Isn't that right? Yeah, that sounds right to me. We knew why you'd done it from the start, Gina. Of course we did. But I knew you wouldn't do anything mean like that, Ginny. I just knew it. Well, when I saw the manuscript in the storm, it reminded me of what you'd said the night before. We just heard about it. We don't need a recap. We're up to a lot worse than that. Barefaced liars, a lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling you, that manuscript ain't at Winterbanks. You'd soon see if you had a look. I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. I mean, I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him.
Oh, Ginny, that was so sweet of you.
All right. I'll tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris. We do need to loop back around to the representation topic, though. It weren't because of Iris. That's not why I did it. I just wanted to know the truth. That's all. You wanted to know if Mr. Sholmes was being honest? If he'd really deposited the manuscript at Winterbanks? It's like I told you the night before. I never had a father. But Iris's lot ain't like mine. She's got a dad. Yeah. Only she can't see him. You know, I reckon that's gotta be harder. That's why she writes her stories. They're about her dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me, anyway. Last night when I was listening to what you were saying.
Stories about Daddy?
You mean they're not the adventures of a great detective, but the adventures of a great detective and his trusty partner? Well, that's how I see it, yeah.
You're so thoughtful and kind, Ginny.
Yes, and we never thought any differently, did we? Look, give it a rest, will ya? I hate all this chummy nonsense, do you hear? I hate it. I don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. Because if you don't trust no one can let you down. So leave me alone. Go on, Scarpa. I hadn't noticed until now, but it's unmistakable. Right there on both sleeves of that overcoat are some very suspicious red stains. Looks more brown to me. What? Why are you looking at me like that, eh? I think it might be worth presenting some of our other findings in that area to Gina now. But what about the representation in court? Fine. Those stains on the sleeves of your new coat, Gina. They're blood, aren't they? What? Blood, Mr. Naruhodo? You don't appear to have any obvious wounds yourself, though. So it could be blood that spattered from Mr. Winterbank when he was shot last night.
Let's not beat around the bush here. This trusty friend of mine will get results much faster than anything else.
Take it easy, Iris.
Don't move, Ginny. I'm gonna shoot.
Boop. Blue, green, or purple. Blue, green, or purple. Oh, fuck. It's purple.
Oh my!
What the? Forget the sleeves. The whole coat is covered in blood. Of course. The black color of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why we haven't seen them until now.
And the blood has reacted with the chemical to turn a purple color, which matches one of the samples we've already collected perfectly. Yes, now let's see, who had the purple blood? Aha, yes, it was the brickmaker, Mr. Mason.
Ah, right. Okay, yeah, no, that checks out. So yeah, never mind. Right. I got my colors mixed up. That means you're innocent. Because that could have happened when he was killed. I knew it.
What are you all on about? The victim? What do you mean?
It's a rather uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruhodo, but I think this makes things quite clear. It means the omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed.
Oi, would someone explain what's going on? Stop telling half a story.
I guess we're never gonna get Gina's conclusion about the thing about court. Well, tell us the truth. We can see now that the victim's blood is all over Mr. McGilded's overcoat.
But in the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said this in his testimony.
Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand.
But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear. These stains couldn't have arisen from McGilded trying to pull the victim to his feet.
No, if that was what really had happened, the blood wouldn't have splashed all over the front of the coat.
The only explanation for this pattern of blood is that it splattered over McGilded's coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. Fuck, there it is. And there you have it. I've tried to run from the truth for long enough, but there's no escaping it now. The true culprit in that case, Mr. Mason's killer, was Madness McGilded. Yep. Not our first time defending a guilty man in this series, but fuck. Jesus, this one almost hits as much as that one. Almost, because that case is like one of my favorites in the series.
Mr. Naruhodo?
That horrible case is solved at last. And I helped the man walk free from that trial. It was all that twisted testimony and all that sham evidence to prove his innocence. How could I have let that happen?
Bruno, do you believe him, though? Did you believe Mr. McGilded was innocent?
I believed, or rather, I think I was trying to believe, or I wanted to. Because believing in those you represent in court is the defense lawyer's greatest weapon.
A weapon?
A lawyer's weapon. Before we came to Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson.
You mean Kazuma-sama?
Listen, Ryunosuke. We lawyers are only human. We can't know for sure what's the truth and what's a lie. Which is why we must resort to our primary weapon. An unwavering belief in our clients. That's all we really have. Unwavering belief? Only when we truly believe what our clients tell us can we fight with everything we have for their cause. In any battle, there can be no victory without faith. So I believe you, unwaveringly. On one hand, I kind of wish McGilded's, innocence or guilt was kind of kept vague throughout the rest of the game. On the other hand, this is doing wonders for Ryunosuke's arc. So I'm fine with it. Heh. What's so funny, Gina?
Cool. Sounds like in this Empire Japan you come from, everyone must be soft. Well, come on. Look at the mess it's got you into, believing in that bog trotter.
Yeah, I inadvertently helped a murderer walk free.
Well, at least you've learnt your lesson now, eh? Believing in people's never worth it. Someone always stabs you in the back in the end. As soon as you let down your guard, you've had it. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe no one, get hurt by no one. Gina, may I ask you something? What?
Jesus, the voice is going all over the place. I feel like her voice has been like changing every single stream.
I just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? How many times do I have to say it? Rip them up and chuck them away. Are you really sure that's what you want? I bet that's what he wants and all now, Mr. I'm a Believer lawyer over there. Don't forget it was me in that trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can believe in me after that? Not likely. Well, Mr. Naruhodo?
The lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his clients. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not I feel I can trust Gina after everything that's happened. I trust her, of course. Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial.
Are you half-baked?
Not at all. You've not once admitted to committing the crime, have you? What's more, I believe that you're telling me the truth.
Seriously, Mr. Naruhodo. Didn't you hear all of what I said before? I'm a born liar. Fibs just trip off me tongue, and I'm a diver, don't forget. I pulled the wool over your eyes 2 months ago and got you in all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Gina? I do understand why you chose not to put your trust in others. But I assure you, there is more to this life than you yet realize. What do you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People who won't ever let you down.
It's true that I'm just a student of law, and I'm certainly lacking in courtroom experience, but I can promise you this. Whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I am completely on your side.
What do you expect me to say to that?
Oh, she's crying.
Then it's decided. I will take these papers now and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow. It would be a shame to throw them away now after it's been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You Eastern Lauder. I don't know what you are!
Gina's taken herself off to the back of her cell. She'd never admit it, but I hope she's feeling relieved. That turned out all right in the end, I think.
Whoever's hiding there, show yourself at once! Eavesdropping is the height of cowardice!
Huh? Mrs. Sato?
Somebody is there in the shadows. I can sense it. Somebody who wasn't there before.
What? Uh-huh. Who? Oh, Luigi, okay. Hi, Luigi.
Blimey, you're sharp, eh? I suppose you were using one of those mystic Japanese arts, like the art of stealth I've heard so much about.
If anyone was being stealthy, it was you, Inspector.
Rexy!
Oh dear me, I am most terribly sorry, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you.
How long have you been listening in on our conversation?
Good grief, listening in? No. I just got word that there were some visitors who were refusing to leave even though it was after hours. I assure you, your ladyship, I only just arrived. This very minute, not a moment earlier. That's all it is, nothing untoward and nothing at all.
After hours? Is it that late already?
So then, I'll humbly excuse myself now, your ladyship. Ta-ta, toodaloo, cheerio, all the best. Bye, bye, and bye.
That's a lot of farewells, and not one of them inappropriate for her ladyship.
Oh, but I want to have a chat.
I'm terribly sorry, but time is pressing at the moment.
Oh, I see. That's a shame.
If I don't get this emergency at the Supreme Court dealt with sharpish, Lord Strongheart will, well...
Emergency?
Lord Strongheart? Nothing. Forget I said anything. Anyway, I'm off.
All right, Gregsy, if you have to, but let's chat soon.
Delighted, charmed, can't wait, if you please.
My pleasure.
That's a lot of pleasantries, and not one of them sounded sincere.
Gregsy's so funny. He says such silly things.
It's certainly entertaining to see an inspector of the police fawning to a 10-year-old girl. But anyway, I wonder what this emergency is at the Supreme Court.
I must attend the court clerk's office now before it closes.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Mrs. Sato.
Kindly escort Iris home now, Mr. Naruhodo. I shall meet you there later.
Okay. And so our investigation came to an end. Susato-san went to file the necessary papers for my defense of Gina the following day, and then it hit me. I could no longer suppress that wretched feeling that had been gnawing away at my insides. Tomorrow, Susato-san would be leaving Britain and making her way back to Japan. Man.
Naruhodo-san? It's been a very trying day, hasn't it? I do hope you're not too exhausted.
What about you, Susato-san? The day has been ever more trying for you, I'm sure. Mr. Sholmes was shot before our eyes, Gina was arrested. All on the back of the news that her father had fallen ill and that she must return to Japan at once.
I hope your father recovers soon. Thank you for your kind words. I wonder why it is that so many thoughts rage in my head like a storm, and yet I seem unable to find the words to express any of them.
I know exactly what you mean.
Anyway, I have one final task to complete as your judicial assistant. Once that is done, I shall make preparations for my departure tomorrow.
One final task?
It's just 2 months since we arrived in London, but we've managed to establish this office. It was finally feeling as though we were settling in. I would be lying if I said I felt no regret.
I'm so sorry, Susato-san.
It's just so sudden. I really don't know what to think. I've had no time to gather my thoughts.
I know we've only been here a short time, but in my limited experience of the courtroom, I feel I've learned something.
And what would that be?
It seems to me there are many facets to people's personalities.
Facets?
And like a jewel, the light plays off them in complex patterns, illuminating their actions and their motives. We only see a small number of the total facets, and what is illuminated is only a part of the whole story. What lies in the shadows? What do those facets we can't see look like? Perhaps there are some parts we'll never lay eyes on for as long as we live.
That's so true.
Sometimes I feel as though I'm blind to so much, but I keep hoping that one day it'll all become clear, that all the facets will be illuminated, and I'll finally understand how everything fits together.
Naruhodo-san.
I suppose what matters is that we keep our eyes open and keep moving forward, even if the way sometimes seems dark.
It's amazing to think it's just been 2 months. You've grown so much.
Sorry? I've what?
Oh no, it was nothing. Unimportant.
Fuck me, I'm gonna cry. Let me look at a shovel to calm my worries. What's the matter with me? Why am I examining things at a time like this? This is my last chance to talk to Sato-san before she leaves. That didn't help at all!
Do you know what time you'll leave London in the morning? Yes, I picked up my ticket earlier. I shall be leaving here at 4 a.m.
I see. Well, I'll escort you to the station.
Absolutely not.
Sorry?
I'm sure you realize why I couldn't possibly let you do that. You have a very important day ahead of you tomorrow.
Gina's trial. Yeah, I know, but
every word you utter will have the potential to determine Gina's fate. You must get as much rest as possible. Even though, like me, I'm sure you'll find it hard to sleep.
But please, for me, do try.
What's your last task then? Now, you mentioned one final task a moment ago. What did you mean?
Oh my, I nearly forgot. Please, I want you to have this.
What is that? Some huge bundle of documents?
It's my notes from the case 2 months ago. The murder that was committed on the omnibus.
The Gilded case.
It seems to me that the case of Mr. Winterbank's murder, of which Gina is accused, is very much tied up with that omnibus case, in ways that are not yet completely apparent. So I took the liberty of consolidating my writings about the case for you.
With everything else she's had to think about, Susato-san still managed to do this, and all neatly laid out for me in her beautiful handwriting.
It was my pleasure. I can only hope that it'll bolster your case tomorrow for Gina.
Thank you so much, Susato-san. I'll do my best to use it wisely. You really are the best judicial assistant in the world.
Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure.
What, sorry? I didn't quite catch what you said there.
Oh, ignore me. I was just mumbling to myself.
Notes collected by Mrs. Sato about the McGill case we worked on 2 months ago. God, Sato is so good. Like, I was a little worried she'd be a bit plain going into things, but God, she's just so, like, genuine and sweet. I love her. God. And she doesn't deserve to think so low of herself. She did so much.
Well, it's getting rather late. I think you should go to bed now, Naruhodo-san. I must finish packing up my things in my room.
Susato-san, I
wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. Good night.
Oh, wait! There's something I need to say. Yikes. What was that?
A secret technique of mine. The Susato shutdown.
Shutdown?
Please, I implore you. If we have to voice our goodbyes, I won't be able to hold back my tears.
Shit. Susato-san. Oh, I just fell asleep like this. It truly had been a trying day. On our feet for hours, getting Gina to open up to us, and learning the truth about that nemesis of a case. Physically and mentally, I was exhausted, and yet the idea of sleep seemed impossible. But I forced myself to close my eyes. And as a cacophony of scenes of our lives here in London played through my mind, eventually, my fatigue triumphed, and I fell into a deep sleep. Fuck, I'm gonna cry. And now it's my birthday. God bless. April 17th, the small hours. St. Sinners Hospital, Ward 3. Yes, I quite understand. That is a great weight off my mind. Ah, he's okay. Good. Rest assured, I shall put everything in place, exactly as we have discussed. Thank you so much. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you, Mr. Sholmes. On the contrary, the pleasure has been mine. I bid you farewell, and Godspeed. Oh, wait, huh? I thought that this was somebody else. What, huh? I didn't think, wait, what? Oh. Okay. I thought that it was somebody completely else.
Yes, great grammar, Perry. Somebody completely else. Well, it's trial time. When I awoke the following morning, Susato-san was already gone. Outside the window, the rain came down in sheets. And so began an even longer day than the last, one that I would remember for the rest of my days. All right. Good morning, Gina. I'm determined to prove your innocence today. I'm sure we can do it. So where's your friend then? Sorry? You know, her in the fancy dress. Sato, or however you say it. I don't know. Mrs. Sato had to leave early this morning. She was already gone by the time I woke up. You alright with that? You alright with that, are you? Forget about me if you like. Go and see her off. It's fine. It's not as though Mrs. Sato and I won't meet again. One day. Even so. But you, Gina, you only get one chance. This trial today is all we have. Good morning, you two. Oh, Sholmes? No, Iris. Hi.
Good morning, you two. How are you feeling, Ginny? Did you manage to sleep?
Iris, what are you doing here?
What do you mean? When a friend is in need, we show our support. Isn't that right, Waggy? Ah, Waggy!
Great way to show your support, kitty.
Let him have a nose around. What harm can it do? Oh, that reminds me. I brought a paper on the way here. No, it's like the good news or the bad news? What do you say, Runo? Ginny?
Well, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first.
Nah, always take the good news first. You might not live to hear the bad. Yes, that question always gives away people's personalities.
Let's not go there.
Alright then, I'll give you the bad news first. A record amount of rain has fallen this morning, and carriages all over the capital are struggling to move.
Huh? The bad news was a weather report?
So I hope that Susie made her train to Dover and that the train isn't delayed on its way to the port.
Gosh, yeah.
Alright then, so what's the good news? Well, the rain is forecast to subside this afternoon. So even if the train is delayed, it should be able to make up the time later. Well, that is good news, isn't it?
I couldn't give a monkey's, really. If only all good news canceled out the bad.
And look, the trial has made the headlines too. Pawnbroker perishes in pick-plus plunder. See?
What, so Seki write that? He loves his alliteration. Wait, no, he's in Japan now. That joke doesn't work. I can't because you're covering your face.
Don't worry, Runo will soon show everyone this headline is nonsense.
I will?
And then, in tomorrow's papers, the headlines will be, "Discharged diver as dauntless do-gooder." Isn't that right, Runo?
Oh, yes. Let's hope so.
Of course they will. I have absolute faith in you. How was that? I was trying to sound like Susie. Did it work? Did it?
It's like she was still here.
Good luck then, Runo. I'll do what I can. Obviously, I don't know the law like Susie does, but still. I'll be by your side the whole time, giving you moral support and encouragement.
I'm not sure that big thing is as comforting as you think it is, to be honest, but... Thank you, Iris. That's very kind of you.
Oh yeah, Iris. Yes, Ginny? Well, I was wondering is all about Sholmes. Did they fix him up all right? Yes, the operation was a great success. But
Hurley still hasn't come around yet. Eh? I've asked a friend of mine at Scotland Yard to send a telegram as soon as he wakes up.
I'm sure Gregson will let us know the moment there's news.
Oh, right.
No Susato-san and no Mr. Sholmes. It's all down to me today to prove that Gina is innocent of this crime. Miss Gina Lestrade, counsel for the defense. The trial is about to begin. Yes. Please make your way to the courtroom. It's time, then.
It's time then.
Yes, let's go, Gina. Iris.
Lead the way, Runo.
Susato left, and god damn it, she took the brain cell with her. Poor Gina. She's trying to put on a brave face, but I can tell she's worried and scared. I have to believe in her from start to finish. That's the weapon that will secure our victory here. If I learned anything from my great friend, it's that. Alright, let's go. The Old Bailey courtroom. The fact that now not one but two cases in Ace Attorney take place on my birthday, though. Wild. Jesus. Oh, I think I saw some people I recognize in the jury. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. This trial shall determine the guilt or innocence of Miss Gina Lestrade. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. I missed you fucking bitch. The prosecution is ready. The defense is ready. Lord Van Zeeks. My lord? Remind me, how many years was it that you withdrew from the public prosecution service? It was some 5 years ago, my lord. Yes, and 2 months ago you resurfaced somewhat unexpectedly, and here you are again today. Are there some circumstances of which the court should be aware of that have led to this erratic behavior? In what one might describe as your former life 5 years past, you dealt exclusively in matters concerned with the highest echelons of society and government. Really? Yet today you chose to try a simple case of burglary and murder. I confess I find it more than a little befuddling, counsel. There are two types of person I cannot abide. Firstly, those wealthy scoundrels who hide behind a mask of philanthropy to cheat the public at large. Alright, I kinda get that.
He means Mr. Gilded, who you defended against the Reaper 2 months ago.
Yes, I just about managed to work that out. Also, shoutouts to Iris being our assistant now, I guess. She can probably barely look out from over that desk. Magnus McGilded, if I'd known what a monster he was, I would have never defended him. And secondly, even more loathsome, those wily scoundrels who masquerade as allies only to effect total betrayal in the final hour. In other words, the confidence tricksters from those tiny islands in the Far East. The buddy, chill. Jesus Christ. You need to, like, even if there is a damn good reason why he's like this, it's like, I don't think that excuses that. What? Did he really just say that?
He means you now, Runo.
I actually managed to work that out too, thank you. Iris? Total betrayal? What are you talking about? That torrid look of hatred in Lord Van Zeek's eyes. Was that directed solely at me, or was he talking about all Japanese people? He can have a reason, but it categorically cannot be a good reason. Yeah, fair enough. I suppose I meant more of a reason, yeah. An alarmingly scathing explanation, Lord Van Zeeks. Still, the judiciary welcomes the return of the so-called Reaper of the Bailey, feared by all London's malefactors. Your lordship is too kind. Now, jurors, the 6 of you have been selected at random to represent the will of the people in this trial.
All right, let's see. Oh, we got the crescent moon fucker again, and the maid, and I think we've had that third guy before. We've definitely had the old man, but now he's a doctor. We've had this lady, and that's the Russian guy from the newspaper, right? Are you ready to hear the evidence placed before you and determine the guilt or innocence of the defendant? Former lieutenant in the British Army here, don't you know? Chaps like me were born ready. Third guy is new. Okay. He just looked kind of like another guy, so I was like, wait, is that? Okay.
Clean crockery, clean cutlery, and a clean conscience. His lordship's motto is very appropriate here, I think.
Yeah, okay, no, yeah, that's new.
Everything will be stereoscopic in the future. Absolutely, absolutely everything, and I'm ready for it.
I don't understand it. I can't have it left in there. I can't have left it in there. It's not possible, but could I have?
Women indispensable in society. Stop. Female-centric future awaits. Stop. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. What a cast.
Is something wrong, Runo?
Oh, not exactly. It's just...
I'm fairly sure I recognize these jurors. Almost all of them, in fact.
Really? Funny coincidences like that do happen from time to time, don't they? But it is quite strange. The jurors are chosen at random from London's 6 million inhabitants, you know.
And it's just awful luck. So I've been led to believe, but something tells me I'm being duped. Very well. Now, Lord Van Zeeks, the court calls upon the prosecution to introduce the facts of the case. As you wish, my lord. Allow me to begin with a word of warning to ladies and gentlemen of the jury. In short, there has never been a more self-evident case of cold-blooded murder. The victim, Mr. Pop Windibank, proprietor of a pawn shop on Baker Street, was shot from behind and died instantly. The prosecution presents this photographic print of the crime scene. I should probably examine my evidence before we, get into things. But first I'll let him give us this new one, I guess. As a court will... Wait, no, we have this one. As a court will observe, there's a single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. Okay, let me see if there's anything I missed examining. Hiding under sign, degree of legal representation, defendant, attorney at law. Alright. Unknown, green, thrice fired mason, purple, Pop Windibank, blue. Okay. Can I read it? No. But The Hound of the Baskervilles.
That's right, I used Daddy's notes to write it. I think it's a great story. I don't know why Hurley's forbidden me to publish it.
No, it's strange, isn't it? Perhaps the problem with the title? Perhaps Mr. Sholmes is a family friend of someone who has that name or something.
Well, it does tend to have quite the same ring to it, but I could change it to The Hound of the Naruhodos.
I'm fairly sure that Mr. Sholmes is a friend of someone who has that name, too. And Gilded case notes. Yeah, I forgot to check these entirely. Victim found deceased after the last scheduled omnibus of the day after a stab wound to the abdomen. Mason Milverton, male. Occupation brickmaker, East End of London. Defendant, Magnus by Gilded, Lord Baron Father Zeus, assured with 3 eyewitness testimonies. However, a surprise 4th witness's testimony resulted in acquittal due to insufficient evidence. Alright. Oh wait, he's on the paper. Yeah, right, that's because of our case, right. Right. I believe that's the weather thing. Sensational story in the lower front page as well. Ministry Mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas from Ministry of Justice. For a 10-year-old, Iris certainly has her finger on the pulse of world news.
It's about secret communications between Great Britain and all of its allies. Apparently they're being intercepted by hostile nations.
Communications are being intercepted? But how would somebody be doing that?
That's the question, isn't it? I've come up with 3 different possible methods so far. Looking for a new career, Runo?
No, of course not! I wonder, perhaps this is what Lord Strongheart was talking about yesterday.
Yes, it could be, and it could explain why he has Gregsy running from pillar to post at the moment.
Alright, which contains an article about government secrets being leaked to foreign agencies. Okay. I assume all of this is just flavor text, so I won't stall any longer. Single bullet wound just below the gentleman's left shoulder. The evidence suggests that the bullet pierced the man's heart, resulting in near-instant death. Moving on to the findings of the Scotland Yard's coroner, whose report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. And what's that supposed to tell us? It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Someone like the accused, you might say.
Oh,
The prosecution wishes to present the autopsy report and crime scene photograph as evidence, my lord. Indeed, the court accepts. Hand him to the bailiff, please. Alright, a report prepared by a Scotland Yard coroner that confirms instant death due to a single bullet wound from the back. There are no other signs of trauma. The crime scene photograph has been added into the court record. Okay. I now ask the court to turn its attention to this plan of the establishment where the incident occurred. Give me just a minute. Windabank, Baker Street, reporting party, Renosuke, coroner, Dr. Stevens. Okay. No other visible signs of trauma. Instant death from a postero-anterior bullet wound to the heart. The bullet entered the back from a... Okay, yeah, it's just a recap. Okay. Just want to check. Can never be too safe. Alright, crime scene photograph. A photograph of the victim from the man's back. Oof. Well, no reason to look at things yet. I now ask the court to turn its attention to this plan of the establishment where the incident occurred. The proprietor was found in the storeroom where he kept articles pawned to him. A windowless room with a single point of entry. A door in the main shop that was found locked. In this sealed chamber, there were only 2 persons present. The victim, Mr. Windabank, and the accused. It may further interest the court to know that when the accused was discovered at the scene, she had in her hand the gun used to fire the fatal bullet.
well, that's that then, isn't it? Nothing more to say. Isn't that grubby little girl a pickpocket anyway? She's one of those filthy drabs that live in the slums in the East End. Oh well, it was only a matter of time before she got blood on her hands then. What are the jurors waiting for? The girl's guilty as hell. We can't jump to conclusions here. We mustn't assume her guilt because of what she has to do to survive.
My learned Nipponese friend, it is you who mustn't jump to conclusions. The prosecution has barely begun presenting its case. Conveniently, this appalling act of murder did not go unobserved. There were witnesses. Good gracious! After their testimony, this girl's true nature will be exposed. Pitiful pick purse, or cold-hearted killer. Here's to establishing the truth. The court will take the floor plan and firearm into evidence. Hand them to the bailiff, please, Lord Van Zeeks. Come on. Hand it over, boy. At once, my lord. That's a good lad. It shows the relative positions of the main shop and the rear storeroom. Okay. Windabank's revolver. Gina was holding it when she was found unconscious. There are signs of a single discharge. But no ballistic markings. We haven't found out about those yet. This isn't good.
I feel like the moon here has turned very gloomy all of a sudden, Runo.
I think that's because it has. Damn, cloak off immediately. Let us begin! Bring forth the witnesses to the foul murder of Mr. Pop Windabank on 16th April of this year. I mean, final cases, quote-unquote, usually are. I'm using the quotes because, like, technically, in the grand scheme of both games, this is only the halfway point. But it is the final case for the for the first game, so... Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a bit of hell. Oh, who the fuck? Look at those 2 funky fellas. Witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. Man, I should have said... Oh! I'm mad. I'm so mad. I should have saved the Luigi voice for this guy, so that I could have the Mario voice for the smaller guy. They're red and they're reddish and greenish even. God. Wait. I can try the TV show Luigi voice. I'm not practiced on it. I'm not very practiced on it, but I can try that. Hey, Mario! Name's Nash Skulkin. Occupation is, baddie. A professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin. Occupation's, same as him.
Tobias Gregson, Scotland Yard Inspector.
Hey, that's right. We're what they call, nah, it's just turning into a mobster voice. The three Skulkin brothers. I'll just do whatever comes to mind.
What are you looking at me like that for? Don't lump me in with you lot.
I'll just do whatever, it's fine. Or I could just do the Luigi voice for both of them. Who's stopping me?
God, blimey, that's cold. Don't you know what we're going through?
It's an older bruv. Lost contact with him we have. So we're scouring every shady corner of the capital.
And then last night we come across you, the very spit of the bloke. Ain't that right, Ringo?
He is, Nash, he is. The very spit of him.
So we decided there and then what we was gonna do. We was gonna call ya Big Bruv Sulky. Come on, leave it out, you two.
Sulky Skulkin. And that's before he's running out of chips.
Well then, Inspector Sulky Gregson. Begging your pardon, my lord, but the name's Tobias.
What I would like to know, Inspector, is what you are doing in this witness stand. The Skulkin brothers are currently under arrest, my lord, on suspicion of theft. Thieves, are they, these three?
No, my lord, begging your pardon, but please don't lump me in with this lot. Even if I sound very similar to them.
2 nights ago, these two brothers illegally entered an establishment with the intent to burgle. In the course of their nefarious activities, they became embroiled in a far more sinister crime. By Jove, you mean to say? What an extraordinary coincidence. Indeed, my lord, while attempting to burglarize the pawnbrokery, they witnessed its proprietor's murder. Order! The various trespasses of these brothers is not the subject of today's proceedings, though they will naturally face trial in the very near future.
With your lordship's permission, I'd like to remain in the stand to keep these gents on the straight and narrow.
Of course, Inspector. Skeptical as I am about the caliber of these witnesses, I will permit them to take the stand. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you will now testify before the court. Describe the events of the night in question. What exactly you saw.
Happy to.
Cause a Skulkin's never skulkin'. Oh yeah.
Get out of it. Ah.
I'm sorry, but their designs are giving me such joy right now. They're just so goofy looking.
We was walking down Baker Street in the small hours, and the gaff's door was ajar, see?
It was like some kind of sign. Begging for us to go in, it was.
But once we got inside, God blimey lummy, we heard a gunshot in the back room.
Yeah, we went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside.
We never done nothing, governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that, nice and quiet.
A terrible coincidence it would seem. At the precise moment these miscreants entered the property, an even more sinister crime was afoot. The witness's testimony is consistent with the crime scene in every detail. The door providing access to the storeroom from the main shop was indeed locked from the inside, and within only the victim and the accused were found. I must say it does appear to be an overwhelmingly simple case. Still, the defense may cross-examine the witnesses now, of course. Counsel, if you please. Counsel? Yes.
What's the matter, Runo?
Sorry, I was just stunned into silence for a minute by the blatant lies being told by that pair in the stand. I know that it's all nonsense because I saw it with my own eyes. I'll have to expose their testimony for the pack of lies it is.
We was walking down Baker Street in the small hours and the gaff's door was ajar, see?
Was it though?
The front door of Windibanks was ajar, you say? What time of night was this?
Must have been about 1. Right, Ringo?
Why is his mouth just open like that? I'm tempted to just pursue him right here, right now. Because I want to get down to brass tacks. I wonder if we get any flavor text for wrongfully pursuing. Or if that's like a strike on our record. I've never actually tried that. I'm curious. I want to try. You never know if you don't go.
Excuse me.
Mr. Ringo Skulkin, do you have something to add? Eh? What? Something that was just said just now appears to have got you thinking. Oh, well, yeah, I was just thinking about me bruv, Sulky. Oh, the one you've lost touch with? Yeah, blimey, he could be a saint sometimes, that one. Always used to give me a share of his grub when we had anything to eat. He sounds like a very kind man.
Get out of it, these chips are mine. I'm not sharing.
Well, that was a cute little flavor text thing. I might need to do that more often then, if there's no consequences. Anyway, let me hear the rest of what you had to say. What time of night was it? Must have been about 1, right, Ringo? Yeah, I'd say so. Right, Sulky?
How would I know, eh? The place would have been shut at 1 in the morning, just like every other shop in town. Well, it was pitch black inside, it's true. Ain't that right, Ringo?
I'm not so sure, Nash. I seem to remember a little light burning inside. What about you, Sulky, me old mucker?
Leave me alone.
There definitely was a small lamp burning inside. That's what alerted us to the situation in the first place. And when these gentlemen ventured into the open establishment, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, already had the muzzle of her gun trained on the unfortunate victim. That is pure conjecture. Perhaps, but it changes nothing. These brothers inadvertently wandered into the middle of a cold-blooded murder, simply because they found the door of the victim's establishment open and ventured inside.
Right, that's what happened.
Yeah, sure, buddy. It was like some kind of sign begging for us to go in. It was. But once we got inside, core blimey lummy, we heard a gunshot from the back room. We went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside.
Hold it.
Do you mean the door between the main shop and the storeroom? If my learned friend is having difficulty grasping the situation, perhaps a drawing would help. Excluding the shop's entrance from the street, there was only one other door, that of the storeroom.
Of course, there was only a little lamp oil burning. A little oil lamp burning, not much to see by.
And the door was hidden behind a curtain and all. That's right. When we arrived, the door was mostly obscured by the curtain. Tell me, why exactly did you try to open that door? Eh? Any normal petty thief would run at the sound of a gunshot, I should think.
Oh, well, your turn to rabbit, Ringo.
Yes, Nash, yeah. Let's do it again. Mr. Nash Skulkin, do you have something to add?
What?
Something that was said just now appears to have got you thinking.
Oh, well, yeah, I was just thinking about bruv.
Oh, okay. It's mostly the same. Okay. All right, Nazi needs to work. Share the group. Okay. All right. Oh, but there was an achievement out of that. Okay. Cool. We went to see what was what, but the door was locked from the inside. I don't think we were getting anywhere with that. Let's just press the next one. We never done nothing, Governor. We never took nothing. We just left after that, nice and quiet.
You sure about that?
Hold it.
You didn't do or take anything. Is that your story?
Well, it was bedlam soon as, weren't it?
It was, Nash, it was. Ah, fuck, I skipped the dialogue. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Didn't even have a time to pull me dukes out of me Lucy lockets. So, in no time to take your hands out of your pockets, you just left nice and quietly, you say?
That's right, Governor. Nothing we ate more than violence. Peace-loving nibblers, we are, but not bludgers.
We are, Nash, we are. Nothing, never even pulled me dukes out, me Lucy Lockets. So you clearly like us to believe...
Come again?
As you fled from the pawnbrokers that night, did you not run into anyone else? Hey, Poke, we're interrogating Mario and Luigi right now. And did you not fire a gun at that person? Saints alive! They fired a gun, you say? Ah! I love their designs so much. They're so goofy.
Blimey, governor!
You ain't telling us it was you in the doorway. It was. Why the bleeding Nora?
Didn't you mention that before?
You were armed with a gun. For your neutral special, you wield a gun. And as you fled the scene, you fired that gun. And London's greatest detective, Herlock Sholmes. I shot the great Mr. Sholmes? I did hear that, actually. There was a rumor he'd been rushed to hospital. The great Sholmes? That's beyond the pale. On the night in question, this pair were arrested by the police within minutes of the discovery of the crime scene. The crime scene. Still not fully over Herlock Sholmes. I mean, I told my story yesterday about, like, I saw the name Sherlock Holmes, and I was like, who the fuck is that? Because I've been obsessed with this game. Their suspicious countenance rapidly gave them away. And when searched, a firearm was indeed found in their possession. Furthermore, the barrel shows signs of a shot having been fired. The prosecution invites his lordship to examine the firearm recovered from these brothers. Yes, indeed. Remnants of powder around the muzzle, as you say, counsel. The court will hold this weapon as evidence. The Skulkin brothers' gun has been entered into the court record. I need to investigate that gun. Now, my learned Nipponese friend. Can it wait? Can your racy remarks wait? I need to look at the gun muzzle. So there's ammunition still loaded in 5 of this revolver's 6 cylinders.
Yeah, that's what tells only a single shot has been fired from it.
Exactly.
The bullet that hit Hurley, in fact, isn't it?
Yeah, it happened almost as soon as we walked in through Winterbank's door. Oop. Didn't mean to immediately click that, but oh well. Nothing about the gunpowder? Really? Okay. Fine. Keep your secrets. Did we check this one? This is Mr. Winterbank's gun. The cylinder is completely empty. He always used his hand. He always used to keep this gun to hand on his shop counter, but only with a single bullet loaded. Yes, that's right. To keep all the pawned articles that were in his care safe. Once his bullet was fired, and a poor man lost his life. Was he protecting his shop? I wonder. Trying to keep things safe. Man, Anyway, back to you. Yes? Here's to you successfully presenting the evidence. Huh? For yes, there are telltale signs of spent powder on this gun and a single bullet missing from the cylinder. But the prosecution demands evidence that it was fired at the scene of the crime under scrutiny in this trial. Well, I mean, there was a bullet, though. Although that could be his bullet. Well, I don't need evidence, because I was there.
Objection!
However, the rest of us in this courtroom were not. Fair point, fair point. If the defense fails to provide evidence in support of its rash claim, we shall have no choice but to toast your incompetence and move on. Evidence that these two fired the gun before they left Winterbanks that night. Do we have a picture of the bullet that was in the calendar? Oh wait, maybe in the blood samples thing. The court demands that all claims are affirmed with clear proof. What evidence shows that these witnesses unloaded a firearm in the pawnbroker's shop that night? The brass gonna be a literal witness, yeah. Motherfucker. Yeah, I don't think we have anything else that shows that bullet hole except, this. The evidence is in this portfolio. What on earth have you there, Counsel? During the course of our investigations, we discovered a number of bloodstains. Not trusting the police to do their job they've trained to do. How arrogantly Nipponese of you. Oh, he's a cop. Oh, he's a cop sympathizer too. Fuck him. Well, anyway, we analyzed all the blood samples we found and recorded the results in this portfolio. And you claim to have evidence the court is demanding therein? Yes, my lord. No more dallying then, Counsel. Present the pertinent evidence at once. What do you have in our portfolio that proves these witnesses unloaded a firearm at the scene? Nope. There it is.
Take that!
What is that? Explain. It's a photographic print taken at Windibank's pawnbrokery on the day of the incident. From the scene of the crime, is it? Is that a bullet hole? And if my eyes do not deceive me, it appears the bullet is still lodged there. Yes, as your lordship noticed, the bullet pierced Mr. Windibank's calendar. Oh, he's holding the evidence with confidence now. He's not shuffling around looking for it. That's great. I love these little details with the animation. The date shown being the 16th of April, the very day of the pawnbroker's death. The incident occurred at 1 hour after midnight. But this indicates a separate shot had been fired sometime after the calendar had been set to the 16th. Something that literally anybody can see. Yeah, fair. But I guess we do kind of have to abide by the rules a little. That's right, and while it isn't irrefutable, the defense believes this is credible evidence that the witnesses did fire a round from their gun in the pawnbrokers that night. Got him. Order! How does the prosecution stand, Lord Van Zeeks? If that is the direction my learned friend wishes to take, then the prosecution has no objection. What? What is a man? We already did that joke. But you'll forgive me for flinging my hallowed chalice aside in disgust at the repugnancy it exposes. Yes, on the night in question, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery illegally. And like the bold baddies they claim to be, opened fire on the new arrivals before fleeing back onto the street. Yeah? Take it easy there, Governor. You're gonna land us in the soup. We got a deal. You aren't gonna get into them details. Tell him, Sulky. Set the bloke straight. I have nothing to add. So he knew, did he? Van Zeeks knew their testimony would almost certainly expose the intent of their crime. It would seem now that I owe my learned Nipponese friend the word of gratitude. What do you mean? What I mean is that you have helpfully confirmed an important fact. To what fact do you refer, Lord Van Zeeks? As has been established at the point of their arrest, a single shot had been fired from the brother's gun. However, if that shot found its target in Mr. Sholmes, then clearly these witnesses cannot be accused of the fatal shooting of the proprietor and victim. In other words, these two men have no material connection to the murder of Mr. Windibank at all. So that's it. What are they doing? I love them. That's it. We didn't have nothing to do with it. We didn't, so we didn't. That's what I reckon. Your crimes include unlawful entry, intent to steal, perjury, and let us not forget, attempted murder. But they're so goofy looking that I can't take them seriously. Quite a catalog, eh, fellas? Ah, we're in for it now, bruv. Now then, let us take a moment to consider the aforementioned great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. We seem the man patronized the pawnbrokers in question somewhat regularly. Where's he going with this? Mr. Sholmes appears to take pleasure in tinkering with eccentric machinery.
Eccentric? Says who?
Not me. Don't give me that look. He installed a pair of machines like this one in the victim's shop.
Oh! That's one of Hurley's red-handed recorders!
What is that, Counsel? It has the appearance of a photographic contraption. Ah. As your lordship has surmised, it is indeed a camera attached to a small timing device. Every half an hour, it automatically photographs the interior of the interior of the establishment. The idea being that if a thief were to break into the shop, he would be caught red-handed. Yes. The prosecution has obtained the photographs taken by a device on the night in question. Boop. 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 As the court will observe, copious identical prints are produced in quite a desultory fashion. Rather prodigal, I feel. In fact, there are 2 such devices in the victim's shop, my lord. If I may refer the court to the plan of the premises, their respective positions are here and here. You say these cameras produce a print every half hour. I'm afraid I fail to see how that would help if the anticipated thief conducted his activities in one of the many 30-minute intervals. One can only pray that the would-be criminal lingers, my lord. On the night in question, the witnesses currently in the stand were not caught on camera.
Hey, that's a bit of friar talk, eh, bruv? Lady Luck loves a skulking.
Witnesses, at what time did your trespassing begin?
Must have been just after 1. Right, bruv?
Must have been, Nash. Must have been. Yeah, just go on.
In which case, minutes before these brothers entered the establishment, what scene might we expect to see within the shop? Let us examine the evidence. Good Lord! It's the defendant! Miss Gina Lestrade! That's not a good look. As the court can clearly see, the accused is pictured, gun in hand, facing the victim over the shop counter, no doubt coercing the proprietor to open his door to his storeroom. Quite! One can only too easily imagine the events that unfolded. The court will take this photographic print as evidence, if you will please, counsel. The photograph of Gina has been entered into the court record. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Jenny. In short, God, I'm fumbling, I'm sorry. The accused is the only person who could have possibly have killed Mr. Winterbank. Fuck. Go on. Give us the guilty so we can turn it around. Wonder if I might put in a word at this point. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Took a bally bullet to the knee in the Battle of Maywand, 1880, don't you know? Decorated for it and all that, but forced to retire from service, sadly. Of course, a medal can never outshine the exploits of chaps like us on the battlefield. Yes, Mr. Foreman, and what exactly is your point? Carried on the battle after retirement, you see. The battle of daily life, if you like. And here I am now, leading a small squadron. 6 men, all good and true. And we'll all go down together, you mark my words. One for all and all for one. Wait, oh god, oh fuck. Yeah, no, it's happening. The ladies and gentlemen of the jury have reached an agreement, have they? Is that what we are to understand? Well, Mr. Foreman, was that correct? In a manner of speaking, yes. That is the Garrett Squadron's position, sir. Also, way to just take credit for the entire group, you jackass. Jesus. Status report for the court, men, on the double.
His lordship insists on promptitude at all times, and that goes for making decisions too. I think you'll find the truth as clear as day now. I can reach out and touch it. I wouldn't have left it in there, I just wouldn't. But in all honesty, I can't actually remember. Situation clear. Stop. No room for doubt. Stop. Truth now undeniable. Stop.
I am very sorry for brothers. They are unlucky. Very well. I now call upon each member of the jury to state his or her leaning in this matter. I now shall consider the verdicts to the court.
Guilty.
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 The doctor guy just slamming his head down too.
But oh fuck. Well, it does indeed appear the jury is unanimous in its leaning already. That photograph. It must be the definitive evidence that Gregson mentioned.
But Ginny didn't shoot him.
No, of course not. My lord, the defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination. Here we go. Very well, the court grants permission. So, you refuse to admit defeat again. How unsurprising. We shall proceed immediately with the summation examination. Mr. Foreman, are all members of the jury ready?
Absolutely, sir. Always ready for action, my chaps.
Very good, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty. All right, let's get into it. Jurors Contentions. All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocketier.
As a housemate, I should like to see all filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated.
I think you'll find if you look at the photograph in stereo, the truth will just pop out. If I have left it in there, I should think there'll be repercussions by now.
Bye, made up. Stop. Global radio transmission of Earth to follow. Stop.
In motherland, we say never judge by clothes, judge by head. I am convinced the brothers are innocent.
Well, that was a whole lot of nothing testimony. Let me refute all of that. The circumstance of the crime and the evidence do indeed implicate the defendant rather comprehensively. The storeroom, locked from the inside, in which the victim and the accused were discovered alone. In the accused's hand, the fatal revolver, the firing of which was heard by these witnesses. Not to mention this print. Yeah, that's pretty damning. Character. Depends on if they need to be complex or not. I was gonna say Gina, actually. Yeah. I was actually gonna say Gina as well. There should be a good ref of her online. I got it for my sketch. Thanks a lot, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh dear, Hurley's cameras are supposed to help, not hinder.
I'm afraid I think you have an uphill struggle ahead of you. Yes.
But Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank.
Which means there's more to the situation that we've yet to see.
Agreed.
You have the floor, counsel. Proceed with the summation examination. Let's go. All right. All the evidence clearly points the finger of guilt at this young pickpocketier. I would like to see all filthy eyesores promptly and rigorously eliminated.
Hold it.
Polishing the bench, I see. Again. A maid's work is never done. Not a blemish must remain.
What exactly do you mean by filthy eyesores?
On my way to market for his lordship, I have to pass through the East End. This place is full of beggars, pick-pursers, and crossmen. The scum of the earth.
A little harsh, perhaps.
Let me be plain.
Let me be clear.
If it were up to me, all those back slums would be made spick and span or eradicated. At least we have people like me, like the great detective, working to achieve these important goals.
You're referring to Mr. Herlock Sholmes?
That's right. I like to keep abreast of his exploits by reading Rant's magazine in between my duties. He does wonders cleaning up London streets. In my opinion, he should be declared an honorary maid of the capital.
Mr. Sholmes? A maid? Where's the fan art?
It's really quite unforgivable. Gutter scum having the audacity to shoot our very greatest detective.
Minor detail, it was the two brothers in the stand who shot Mr. Sholmes, not the defendant.
A minor detail indeed. They're all gutter scum as far as I'm concerned.
Well, it might just be an idea to get our facts straight anyway.
Yes, alright. I shall amend my statement. Those brothers are a scum of the earth. They should swing for shooting the great detective. Let me see if anything goes along with that. Or contradicts that. If I left it in there, I think there'll be repercussions by now. Mind made up, stop. Global transition never to follow, stop. In Merlin, I say we never judge clothes just by head. I'm convinced the brothers are innocent. Hey, you two, you need to sort some shit out.
Objection.
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good lord, counsel, explain yourself. Oh, my statement? Contradictory? Contradict, C-O-N, Juror number 6, you've got the wrong end of the stick. I do not have stick. I have mouse. And what a lad that mouse is. I love that little dude. We appreciate mice and rats of all kind in this stream. As juror number 2 said earlier, when the Skulkin brothers fled the scene on the night in question, they fired a shot from their revolver. Yes, they shot poor Mr. Sholmes in the abdomen, I understand. Surely you're not going to tell the court now that you didn't hear. Abdomen. A-B-D. Sir? Sorry. My English is still learning. You are telling the court you didn't hear. You are telling the court you didn't hear? Forgive me, I did not hear. Here is what. Abdomen. Part of person's body containing stomach and other vital organs. If this is what you mean, you should say in plain English. I am Russian, not native speaker. Who thought it was a good idea to let this man be on the jury again? So, you are telling me these brothers who look like criminals were lying? They said before, we never done nothing. But truth is, they shot detective. Duh. This is double negative. Yes, that's exactly right. Lying is right. Don't squish the rat, no! Especially when lying is said by a person who looks like a criminal. It's a stretchy boy. Coming from you, that seems surprisingly prejudiced. This means, when they said that we never took nothing, maybe it was also a big fat lie. It's true. Well, according to the police report, no stolen goods were found, so... Enough, I trust no one now. It's like squishing that cat, yeah. It's not the mouse's fault though, sir. I must see with own eyes. I must investigate crime scene myself. I'm afraid that won't be possible.
Yes, it is, Runo. Easily.
Sorry?
With the prints from Hurley's red-handed recorder.
Ah.
If you compare the pictures that Ginny and the next print from half an hour later, you'll be able to see straight away if anything was taken or not. Cooey, Mr. Prosecutor.
Tut. Calling on the prosecution in the middle of a summation examination of all times. The print showing the accused threatening the victim after she broke into the shop is this one. Following this, the victim and the accused move into the storeroom. Meanwhile, the Skulkin brothers entered the shop and summarily heard the fatal gunshot ring out. Sadly, none of these events were captured on film. This is the print produced by the camera half an hour later, after the brothers' fight. Whatever it was. Whatever the word was.
So this was taken after Hurley was shot then. As far as I can tell, nothing has been taken.
That does seem to be the case. I can't notice anything that's obviously missing in the second print. So the brothers who look like criminals told only one lie. They shot man, but they stole nothing. It would seem so, yes. Good. No, not good. You were right. I did not understood situation. Now I know brothers have lied. I think it is very important to continue with trial. Yeah, that's one for the not guilty.
Yay, well done, Runo.
Well, it's a start, I suppose. There must be more in what these jurors are saying I can use to expose the truth. And if I can do that, we might just turn the situation to our favor still. Thank you, counsel. Continue with the summation examination.
And kindly hand that new photographic print to the bailiff to be filed as evidence. Alright. Another print in the court record. I wonder if we can make use of that. In lake of lies are many dead fish. We must find truth. Therefore I say not guilty verdict. My made up stop. Nope, we're not gonna be able to do that. If I left it in there, I think there should be repercussions by now. Find that photograph in the stereo. Let's go with the earth. They should swing for the great detective. We already tried that one. What's in there? I think there should be repercussions by now.
Hold it!
What exactly have you been muttering about all this time, sir? You keep talking about having left something somewhere or something like that.
So sorry. As you can probably tell, I'm a surgeon.
A surgeon? That totally passed me by.
Of course, people conducting surgery in this country are considered to be doctors. Oh no. Even though me and my kind are at the forefront of medical science, the real brains in the field.
So what is it that you think you've left behind?
Well, that's a little embarrassing to be honest. You see, I was operating on someone yesterday. Standard thing, went in through the abdomen. But when I'd finished the procedure, I couldn't find my scalpel anywhere.
What? Did he? Surely not.
Exactly, surely not, you say to yourself, don't you? Worrying, isn't it? That's what's been troubling me this whole time. Could I really have left my scalpel inside a fellow's belly? No, of course I couldn't. So, there you have it. Like I said, a little embarrassing, really.
That's one way of putting it. The other is manslaughter.
That's exactly my concern, and seeing as this case appears to be all but sewn up, I need the focus on trying to remember exactly what I've sewn up elsewhere.
What the fuck is this flavor text? Jesus. Or this flavor dialogue, I guess. I can't imagine this going anywhere for our trial.
Now, I'm sure I made sure everything was back as it should be. Well, as sure as you can be without being sure.
I'm sure you need to be more sure. Mine made up, stop.
Hold it!
Sorry, radio transmission? What do you mean? Are you from the Far East? Stop. How the fuck do you lose the whole scalpel? I don't. I was gonna defend that, but there's no defending that. There's no defending losing a whole ass scalpel, especially if it's inside somebody. Yes, from the Empire of Japan. All communication from Far Eastern nations used to take place by mail. Royal mail steamers take more than a month to complete the journey.
But now we have the electric telegram, so we can send messages using electrical signals. Thousands of miles of cables have been laid along the ocean beds, connecting the entire world.
Thousands of miles of cable? On the ocean bed? That makes my head hurt just thinking about it. You are well informed, young lady. But cables will soon become a thing of the past. Stop. Just when I was starting to catch up. Radio transmission is the future. Stop. Messages carried over airwaves to four corners of globe. Stop. Excitement growing. Stop. Atmosphere electric. Stop. Right. Try not to wear out your fingers. Era of wireless telegraphy. Stop. Driving to technological revolution. Stop. I realize that she's talking over a radio thing and not actually like something else, but I just like doing the robot voice. There's no other context where I can use it. And people say inventions like the stereoscope are the height of technology. What other piffle? I can't understand it. I really can't. They're just silly toys.
Excuse me.
I knew there was some weight to scanning you. Juror number 3. Sorry to interrupt when you're obviously fuming, but... What? Do you perhaps have something to say about juror number 5's last remark? As if I couldn't guess. Oh, you bet I do! Say that again! Go on, I dare you!
Goodness, are you talking to me?
I think he just might be, yes.
You think stereoscopes are just toys, do you, huh? Absolutely. I mean, really. What? A machine to view photographs in 3 dimensions? Why on earth would you not use your eyes to look at the world around you? It's all 3-dimensional.
What a great way to appease the man.
No, I'm sorry. Stereoscopes are of no practical use at all.
You just don't know!
Pardon? I think you'll find that viewing a photograph through a stereoscope
can unlock all sorts of possibilities. I'm obviously going to have to demonstrate.
What sort of possibilities?
Well, take a crime scene, for example. You had a pair of photographs from a crime scene that you could view through a stereoscope. It could reveal hidden clues you'd never even noticed before.
What? Have you got any, Runo? Any prints we could look at with a stereoscope?
Absolutely. How about this print here? Should do the trick, I think. Yeah, these two similar looking ones.
Take that!
Alright then, juror number 3. Are you saying you can do this with any two suitable photographic prints? Of course I can. Very well then, I'd like you to demonstrate. I'd be delighted to. Give me one more print and I'll amaze you all.
Take that!
Alright, these two prints were both taken with the same camera in Windibanks on the night in question.
Yes, I see. Tell me, Mr. Lawyer.
But do you know how stereographic images work? Do you understand the principle? Well, I think so. I had a lesson only yesterday. With the cat picture, yeah. You shift your eyes together and you do the thing, the brain merges the images, and... yeah. Yes, exactly.
It's that small shift between certain objects in these two pictures that's really important.
So what happens if you use two photographs that are exactly the same then? No, obviously that wouldn't work at all. Not for seeing the scene three-dimensionally anyway.
Oh, of course, now I see.
I think the young girl's discovered the secret.
I have.
Can you uncross your eyes before you tell me?
How would I look at these two pictures from Hurley's camera, Runo? Go on. Can you see if there's a really obvious difference between them?
Of course there is. There are two people in the first and no people in the second.
Well, yes, you can see that straight away, but now, we'll look at the pictures in 3 dimensions.
Alright, I'll give it a go. Wow, can you tell this game was made for a 3DS at first? So to start with, you have to cross your eyes and try and make the two pictures overlap exactly. Let's see if by crossing my eyes I can make the quill pens from each picture overlap in the middle. Wait.
Well, did you manage to see it properly, Runo?
I guess I saw it. There's no reason to say no. What's going on with these two pictures? Something's on the counter sort of jump out at you. Yes, that's it, you see? That's the other amazing power of stereoscopes. Other amazing power?
Is someone going to explain this black magic, eh?
Why the deuce do some of the things on the counter seem to jump out at you like that, huh?
I think you'll find that if you consider the basic principle of the stereoscope, you'll answer your own question.
Basic principles of the stereoscope.
As I said before, if you try to look at 2 identical pictures using a stereoscope, it won't work at all.
It's the slight shift in positions of certain objects that let you see pictures three-dimensionally. In other words, even though at first glance it seems the objects on the counter haven't moved at all, it shows that actually there has been a slight shift. Yeah, even without crossing my eyes, I can see it, they like shift slightly to the right. Although I imagine the crossing would make it a bit easier.
Now, hold fire there, sir! Got a reasonable grasp of this whole cross-eyed business now, I'd say. But why the devil does this shift between the two prints exist in the first place? Well, what's the answer, fellow? Come on, you're the cross-eyed master.
What? Me? I haven't the first idea.
You know, Runo, it's quite simple.
It is?
Just think it through step by step. The first photograph was taken at 1 a.m., then 30 minutes later. But the positions of some of the items on the counter appear to have shifted slightly in the interim. So that means...
That means that sometime in the half-hour interval, someone must have tampered with the things on the counter. Zookers? What? Someone tampered?
New information. Stop. Not mentioned in testimony so far. Stop.
Yes.
We've had to go around in circles a little here, it seems, but I'm starting to see what I should be aiming at in the summation examination now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the question is now clear. We know the items on the countertop were moved, but by who?
Are you suggesting you might know? Of course. I can tell you right now who is responsible for the almost imperceptible shift in the items on the counter. It's either her or them. It's one of them, isn't it?
Take that!
It was the witnesses currently in the stand, the Skulkin brothers.
Wait! This does not agree with what brothers said in testimony before. They said they did not even have time to pull dukes from Lucy Lockets. My phrasebook says dukes is meaning hands and Lucy Lockets is meaning pockets. But is this another lie? Do you really think someone would do that? To just go into court and tell the lies? Is this what you are saying?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Now, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. You can't be sure of that. I quite agree. The accused is a common pick-purse, after all. It's perfectly possible she went through the things on the desk to see what she might steal. I think that's unlikely.
And why exactly?
As you can see from this photographic print, the defendant was pointing a gun at the victim. It would seem, as my learned friend indicated, that she was coercing Mr. Windibank to open the storeroom door. In other words, Miss Lestrade's interests lay within the storeroom, not the main shop, giving her no reason to touch anything on the counter. All of which points to one thing. The Skulkenbergs have made key facts in their testimony. Yeah, get them.
But the accused is a pick-purse, common gutter trash. Why look any further for the wrongdoer here?
Because the Skulken brothers are thieves, madam. No better, in fact worse, than a pick-purse. I believe that these brothers were looking for something on the victim's counter that night. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you would condemn the defendant on the grounds that she's a pickpocket, would not at least be right and proper a thoroughly scrutinized testimony given against her by the two thieves?
Well said. I, for one, would like to hear more from that shady pair.
Why does he do that with his head?
Can you all see now?
I think you'll find stereoscopes aren't playthings. You'll see their extraordinary potential firsthand. Let's get it. We're even. Wholeheartedly agree. Stop. Must purchase after trial. Stop. Will return home via Regent Street. Stop. Damn, we really convinced her quickly, huh?
Well, it would seem this trial is yet to run its course. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury have declared their inclinations via the mighty scales of justice. I hereby call the summation examination to conclusion with the balance altered in the defendant's favor. 2 lean to guilty, 4 lean to not guilty. Accordingly, the jury is without consensus. And I order this trial to continue.
Yay, well done! Oh, by the way.
What?
You should hold on to this rune now. You never know when it might come in useful.
Twice in one trial would be unusual, surely, but alright. Nice.
Lord Van Zeeks, you will instruct the witnesses that the court demands additional testimony from them.
I'm sure it won't spoil the bouquet to do so, my lord.
I've won myself another chance to probe with that pair about their activities last night, at least. I won't stop probing them until I've proven that Gina is innocent. Let's fucking go. Hell yeah. Wait, are we doing a cliffhanger now? Fuck. Well, we gotta keep going. One more part.
if I do one more part now, I feel like it would be doable to finish the first game tomorrow, which would then leave ample time for Monkey Ball Weekend without regrets. So I think I'm gonna go one more part. Why the flannel? Yeah. Flannel's a bitch.
Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand.
Why the fuck am I still here? Oh god, oh heck. Oh lordy.
I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination.
Oh, yeah, Governor.
I did, Gov. I did.
Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
God, blimey!
This is gonna be hard work. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windibanks.
Well, it was bedlam soon as, weren't it?
It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have a time to pull me dukes out of me Lucy lockets. However, that was a lie. You brothers. God blimey! On the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter.
We never done nothing of the sort.
How'd you figure that out? I think I just love these two as like witnesses. They're so goofy, but like in a good way.
You will now give formal testimony once again.
I have a soft spot for the funny men.
You will tell court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time you will tell the truth. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. A thought worth pondering, perhaps.
Say no more, Gov, we hear ya.
We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll peach. They're just entertaining. I don't know. I mean, we always have some little shit in the case, but like, I feel like this one is just like, I don't know. I just feel like their dynamic is good.
Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing.
It was when we heard the gunshot, see? It made us both jump and all that stuff went to flying.
Lummy, it didn't have to give me a fright. We was thinking the shooter would come out the door and get us next.
We stuck everything in the back where we found it and scarpered straight into him in the black.
We couldn't have shot at the pawnbroker. See, we never even had a chance, did we?
So you admit to the defense's accusation. You indeed ransacked Mr. Windibank's countertop on the night in question.
Not ransack, Governor, no.
That's right, Nash, that's right. It's more like we tidied up. Sorry.
By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshots, having first made good their mess.
The way you say it, we hardly sound like roughs at all.
We don't, Nash, we don't. Can't he make us sound a bit more cutthroat?
It can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at Windibanks that night. There's more to your testimony than meets the eye. I'm sure of it. Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing. It was when we heard the gunshot, made us both jump, and all that stuff went flying. Sure. So what you're saying is, the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much, you knocked all those things off the counter.
Well, shocked one of us that much, yeah. This bag of nerves need to keep his shirt on.
Look, it was allowed, alright? Blimey, me dead granny would have woken up at that to bang.
Big brother screamed like a bloomin' baby and fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull whatnot.
I got tangled up in some marionette, what knocked over the picture frame, what knocked over the scales on the floor.
You've really mastered working quietly then. What a racket! Me granny would have been scared to back into her grave at a clatter like that. So, in short, the gunshot took you by surprise.
And then some. I mean, it was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, bleh.
Oh.
Excuse me.
Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add?
Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels.
No. Something to add about their testimony? You seemed to react just now to what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something?
It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it if only... Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details.
How about you just tell us what's on your mind?
As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night, and the statement they gave then told a slightly different story to what they are saying now. Did it? You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot.
Might have, Gov, might have. Does ring a bell now that you mention it.
Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still, I can't help feeling like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, eh, fellas?
If I discover the witness's testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them.
Easy, easy.
We'll get it right this time.
That's it. Yep, it's all coming back to me now.
Then speak. Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned to your questionable minds, sirs.
Right you are, Gov. Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun!"
The bloke what owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at...
Wait. Where's that fucking... Is it like... She was holding... Oh, wait, no, yeah, that's why. He was... Yeah, wait. The autopsy? Maybe. I'm trying to think it through. It's either the autopsy or the crime scene photograph. One or the other. I'll do both. If one fails, I'll use the other.
Objection.
This reveals a damning inconsistency of that last statement. Damning, you say? As I look at you, Counsel, I see your trembling hand, your pallid expression, and your perspiring brow. Huh? It seems to me that is the damning inconsistency here. Fuck. Well... I was thinking the picture of Gina as well, but He died instantly? Yeah. He did die near instantly. That would be, he has a damning tongue. You invited, sir. The bloke what owned the place was holding the gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. Well, this implies beforehand, doesn't... I'm still gonna try it. I'm still gonna try it, but... I'm starting to second guess this line of questioning.
Objection.
Oh, music stopped. I guess that's right then. Okay. That... I mean, I went with it anyway because it was like, you know, one or the other. It's something to involve with the death, but like... Now, on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Windibank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct?
That's it, Gov. You've got the picture.
Yes, now she has. No question. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows that Mr. Windibank was not holding a firearm of any description. You what?
Gordon Bennett, that ain't right.
Objection.
There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I would remind the court that the Windibank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accused's hand.
Yeah, that mole tooler.
That sounds... Okay, Google. What does mall tooler mean? Multool definition, the slang dictionary. A female pickpocket. You were saying pickpocket earlier! Just say that!
Use the victim's own gun to finish him off. Give me that gun! Bam!
That kind of thing.
Hold it!
Stay exactly where you are. Right there! Eh? If the crime had taken place if you've so colorfully described in your testimony, it would give rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out.
Goodness, are you sure, Counselor?
You intrigue me, my learned friend, but let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where's the proof that there is inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments? Now we use the autopsy, I bet.
Take that!
According to this, in their testimony, the witnesses claim to have heard a shout of, "Give me that gun," followed by the gunshot. Indeed, two events happening almost simultaneously, or so we've been led to believe. Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. However, in the autopsy report, it clearly states that the victim died instantly after being shot from behind. Alright, so we had the right idea with the evidence, we just had the order of operations mixed up. That's how it usually goes with mistakes that we make here. So, as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in your testimony, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Yeah!
But it's the God's honest truth!
It is, Nash, it is, when he was shot that night.
The shopkeeper had a gun in his hand, and he saw it with their own plain eyes.
Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Windibank holding a gun? Well,
Something like that might have slipped out.
ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses. And on the night in question, they actually saw with their own eyes the victim wielding a gun. Which can only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, the Skulkin brothers must have encountered the victim in person.
Nash,
Yeah! Oh God, fuck!
Order! Witnesses, explain yourselves at once.
well, the thing is, we weren't supposed to.
It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear that false witness would be the death of you.
Am I to understand that you replace the untruth of your original testimony with renewed lies?
So sorry, Governor. Truth is, see, we,
Cut it out, Nash, cut it out! If we blab now, you know what it'll do to us. He? Who are they talking about? Zeeks?
Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you.
bruv, come on, the game's up.
But, he'll have our guts for garters. In case it hasn't quite sunk in yet, no matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out.
On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances under which this meeting took place.
Do we have to?
On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth.
Alright, so we just got inside the gaff and heaved the sign of relief when the geezer showed his mug.
Give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we'd have had it.
For an old geezer, that bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter.
I pulled me gun on him, and then he legged it through that door into the back room.
We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened, I swear.
You sure about that?
So now you're telling us that moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop.
Well, yeah, sorry.
Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably.
But, be honest, but honest, Governor, this time, Nash, this time, we ain't got nothing more to hide.
Very well. Counsel for the defense, you may proceed with your cross-examination.
Yes, my lord. This is it. The moment I've been waiting for. Cross-examination, baby. Let's go. Alright, so we got inside the gaff and he sighed of relief and the geezer showed his mug. Give me that gun. He jumped at him like he was... Wait, he jumped?
Hold it!
I mentioned Mr. Windibanks shouted those words in your previous testimony, too. However, you claim that you heard him yelling them on the other side of the storeroom door. Oh, did we? But the truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Well, yeah.
Was the victim Mr. Windibank wielding a gun at the time?
Was he ever? Blimey lummy, a great ugly barrel he had, pointed straight to me frontispiece. So what you're saying is, you definitely saw Mr. Windibank with the gun at that time, is that right? It is, Gov. It is. Spot on. Then all of a sudden he came at us, he did. It was bedlam, I don't know what was going for who.
You were clearly all going for each other.
Like Nasha said, we thought we'd had it. I mean, like... Okay, that was all nothing then. For an old geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. I pulled me gun on him and legged it through that door into the back room. We never had nothing to do with killing him. That's all what happened.
Hold it!
No, you got more. I know you do. You say you had nothing to do with it. Nothing at all! Nothing, Gov, nothing! The old geezer went and shut himself in the back room, didn't he? Locked it was, from the inside. We knew it was, because we tried to open it. It's a decent door, that one. Good and strong, wouldn't budge an inch.
So in the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker there was only one other person. The sole person who could possibly have shot the victim. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade. It would appear so, indeed. What say you to that, counsel?
I don't know. Is there anyone else apart from Gina who could possibly have shot Mr. Windibank? There could have been, yeah. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. What? What's that look for, eh? From the moment you admitted that you had encountered the victim face to face that night, the course of this trial changed completely. It did.
What is your point, my learned friend?
The question we must answer is who could have shot Mr. Windibank? And it is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer.
You have my attention. In that case, let us return to the plan of the premises. The victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So pray, what are the possible answer to the man? So what are the possible answer to the man So pray, what are the possible answer to the question of who shot the man could there be? Counsel, you must now provide answers to the court in respect of 2 conundrums.
2, my lord? Twice as many chances to be right, maybe?
Indeed, namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time?
Understood, my lord.
Are you alright, Runo?
I'm not entirely sure, but there's one thing I am sure about. If I can prove there's a credible new alternative to what happened, it would change Gina's prospects hugely.
So now, time for some clarity. Show the court on this plan the answers to the questions posed by his lordship. If you believe someone else could have killed the victim, indicate from where that person could have fired the gun.
Right outside the door? Maybe somewhere
Defense believes the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here. And an answer to the second question. Fuck, they're not gonna tell me until I get until I've answered both of them. That's stressful. Assuming the culprit fired from the location indicated, where was the victim at the time? Was he inside? I mean, he had to be, right? It's all a bunch of shit, isn't it? The culprit shot the victim from outside the storeroom. Continue. Mr. Windibank died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. Looking at the stain of the blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death. Which tells us that he was almost certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired? So you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom? Well, according to the Skulkin brothers' earlier testimony, I pulled my gun on him and then he legged it through that door into the back room. If Mr. Windibank ran away through the door, we have to assume that the door was open at the time. It was at precisely that moment when the victim was fleeing for his life. These brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom. Oh, God!
Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial?
Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner, this report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. That tracks. It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself.
Oh man, shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety.
Of course. He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. So even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it still would have entered his body on an upward trajectory.
So the culprit isn't necessarily someone shorter than Mr. Windibank.
I'm sure my learned friend can't have forgotten that the storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot as he fled into the room. Do you also claim his corpse was dexterous enough to turn the key in the lock? But, what if someone else locked the door? Yes, there's someone else who could have locked the storeroom door. Is that so? Very well then, counsel. Present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario just described, the defense's assertion is that the victim was shot from outside the storeroom. In which case, who shut and locked the storeroom door from the inside? Well, there was only one other person who was in there when it was locked. Had to be Gina.
Take that!
Obviously, the person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade.
Objection!
That's absurd! You'll suggest that the accused deliberately engineered that sealed room? For what possible reason? Such actions would only serve to tighten the noose around her neck. I'm inclined to agree, I must say. Well, counsel.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, that, isn't it?
Half-baked notions have no place in my courtroom, counsel. Remember that, please.
But of course Ginny would have locked the door. It almost goes without saying, doesn't it?
It does?
Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could.
I mean,
those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they?
oh yeah, obviously. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Windibank were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Mr. Windibank must have heard the intruders breaking into his shop and left the storeroom.
Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv.
If your theory is correct, that would leave the accused alone in the storeroom.
Yes, it would. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. Bang! Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Windibank fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. What we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that very moment?
I see where you're going with this.
Outside the storm was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Windibank. As soon as I thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it, in order to save her own life.
Hold it!
But I mean, we ain't the ones who done it.
We ain't, Gov, we ain't. You got to believe us. I mean, come on, we'd never shoot no one. That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact that you would. Because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There's only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to have been the true perpetrators of Mr. Windibank's murder. I don't know. They're setting them up awfully aggressively. I'm starting to think it's a fake out. Where does this leave us?
I mean to say, it wasn't the pickpocket who shot the pawnbroker after all. You'll notice the three brothers, they look as shady as a dense forest.
That was amazing, Runo. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now.
I know. First time ever. And probably the last.
Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll have to give a verdict of not.
An admirable effort, my learned friend. What's this now? He's laughing. You're laughing. I turned the verdict to not guilty, and you're laughing.
You find the situation amusing, Lord Van Zeeks? I myself find the defense's argument most persuasive.
I dare say, such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers of your provincial eastern nation. But such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than inexcusable pettifoggery here. What? What? The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly credibly cannot and will not stand. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? Do you mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic's failing?
I say, Lord Van Zeeks, might be an idea to explain this ballet conjuring trick or whatever it is to the troops on the ground,
The fatal flaw in my learned friend's arguments is really very simple to understand. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets. By George, count bullets!
Oh dear. He noticed then.
Huh? What's everyone talking about? I think I know. There was the one bullet in the calendar, and the one bullet used to shoot Mr. Windibank.
Counsel!
Yes, sir? Tell the court how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime. Two. 2 bullets. 2 bullets doing crime. Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second, that which struck the detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, on his arrival at the scene. And then went into the calendar, yeah.
Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appeared to have passed through his body to strike the calendar.
Is it time for that Ace Attorney thing you always do? Wait. Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are 2 firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windibank, and the Skulkin brothers' revolver. I don't even think the bullet stayed in Herlock's body. Unless they're really out here shitting my ass here. And the Skulkin brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each. Now then, my learned friend. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these 2 brothers shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did. Oh my goodness, I think you'll find that if the single bullet that was fired from the brother's gun hit Mr. Sholmes, it means... Windibank not shot by same gun. Stop. Only 1 bullet. Stop. Exactly. Yes, this Nipponi street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick with no hope of standing up to scrutiny.
Damn it. Damn it.
Order! Order!
My leg!
Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hallowed nectar into the public gallery. Lord Van Zeeks? But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can, regrettably, no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She has a past riddled with criminal conduct. That may be true, but the truth is the accused broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question with some loathsome intent. As we can see beyond doubt in this print which depicts her threatening the victim with the murder weapon. And I have here in my possession one more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present. Wasn't that ours? I remember that somewhere. that disc. Oh wait, no, Gregson took it, didn't he?
I'll be taking that whatever it is in McGilded's down to the yard, thank you very much.
No, don't give it to him. That's mine, that is. Mine.
I'm sorry, miss, but anything belonging to McGilded has to be taken in as evidence now.
Yes, that music box disc. Gilded's music box disc. The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Winterbank, the accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly doesn't belong to her. And with none of the subtlety of her pickpockets, I might add, but by brute force and brazen impudence. Good gracious! Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her years is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths to which this girl would not stoop if pushed. No crime she would not commit. The court forgets this fact at its peril. I see. I think it would be prudent to take this music box disc into evidence, counsel. As a grim testament to
Lord Van Zeeks,
Inspector Gregson? What?
Yes, Inspector.
we had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service, and, I think it was agreed the disc wouldn't be used as evidence.
What's this all about? Why is the inspector acting so strangely?
That's the first time he said anything to Van Zeeks at all. I'm unaware of such meetings.
But those were the instructions right from the top. The government bigwigs were insistent.
Inspector, I am the prosecutor and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord.
I'm thinking that might be a mistake for you, but okay.
Indeed, bailiff. Music box disc has been entered into the court record.
Wait, it has blood.
Iris, do that funny thing.
Oh, Bruno, look! This is blood!
Yes, you're right. Just a small smear, but definitely blood. Actually, I feel as though I might have noticed that before.
It's my time to shine again. I thought I'd be waiting forever. All right, hold still with that disc, Bruno. Can we get this done quickly, Iris? In a flash.
And it's green. Just like the smear on the calendar.
Ooh, a lovely bright shade again.
Wait, that color.
What is it?
It's just that green. It's not the first time we've seen that color, is it? Wouldn't that be Herlock's blood, or is that blood not his? Yeah, the questions are being raised. There's nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions. He might just be an entirely different person. I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once, for all of 5 minutes.
Oh dear, it wasn't even for 5 minutes.
Bruno, don't rub it in. My lord, wonder if I might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been stumbling about in a bit of a fog up to now, if truth be told, but all of a sudden, it's barely obvious to me and my men, there's only one thing for it. Oh, no, 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 no. Very well, the court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your learnings to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Damn it, fuck.
Guilty.
Yeah, that's where he was shot. Unless there's something else going on. Yeah, but what's the deal with the disc? What's the deal with the disc? Oh, God. Also, oh no, but we can switch it back around. It's fine. We have a consensus among the jury, it seems. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth.
That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley. How dare he use it against us?
Don't worry, Iris. I don't think we're finished here yet. There's still more to this case than we realize. There must be, because there's one thing I'm absolutely certain of. Gina didn't shoot Mr. Windibank. That's beyond any doubt. Very well. We will proceed with the second summation examination of the day. Let it go, buddy. No, I won't. Excuse you. Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready? Gird him, squads, with his pride and ready for action, sir. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have now determined the defendant to be guilty. Bum, bum. What you got? Humor me. Once a rogue, always a rogue, I say. Different breed to us law-abiding citizens.
As only 2 bullets are found at the scene, I would say the whole case is done and dusted.
You don't need a stereoscope to see the truth here. Every which way you look at it, it was that pickpocket.
I never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief.
I'm starting to think.
That his little mutterings might actually have something to do with the case. The accused attempted a theft on the previous day. I can see him in for a busy day ahead.
I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns. It would seem there was little remaining room for doubt. Have to admit, I was rather bowled over by the argument put forward by the chap in back. But when it fell apart like a house of cards, I saw that I'd jolly well been hoodwinked. Well, no more.
The whole courtroom is turning against me. It's not fair.
Iris?
The prosecutor's being mean.
Girl, I know you're 10 years old, but God, if you knew the history that was gonna unfold later.
Just because Ginny's done some things she shouldn't have done in the past, that doesn't make her a murderer.
Allow me to savor this fruity vintage while I savor the spectacle of your fruitless debate on the matter. Here's to the truth coming out. Eventually. That's enough preamble. Counsel, proceed with the summation examination. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Get into the game, real. Yes, my lord. All right, let's go. Once a rogue, always a rogue. A different breed to us law-abiding citizens. Bitch, you gonna tell me what happened with that operation, or I'm capping between your eyes?
Hold it!
I probably shouldn't say that in a court of law. Would you please stop muttering about things that have nothing to do with this trial, sir? The defendant's life is on the line here.
Well, the thing is, I couldn't really say that has nothing to do with this trial, to be honest.
Huh?
I mean, there's no question about the man was shot, but the bullet simply vanished from his stomach. It's quite inexplicable, don't you think?
I almost don't want to ask, but this surgery you've been muttering about all this time, you were operating on
What was the fellow's name now? Ehrlich? No. Airlock? No. Hairlock?
Herlock Sholmes, by any chance?
Yes, good lord. It was that Hairlock fellow.
What? You're the surgeon that operated on Mr. Sholmes? Horrifying.
That's right. Using the very latest anesthesia techniques, I might add. It was a fairly major op, I can tell you.
This is crazy.
Let me see. The fellow was brought in not long after midnight, if I remember correctly. They said he'd been shot by some criminal or other, so I opened him up like a shot. But the funny thing is, I went over his insides with a fine-tooth comb and I couldn't find the bullet anywhere. So I'm afraid I had to throw up my hands and just stitch the fellow back up.
I hate to state the obvious, but
Yes.
surely it's because the bullet is still at the scene of the shooting. The counsel for defense is correct. As is clearly shown in this photographic print, the bullet that the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region. I mean, wait. The bullet that hit the Skulkin brothers, the bullet that the Skulkin brothers fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region, then exited his body and lodged into the shop wall where the calendar was hanging. I think you'll find it's really quite simple if you just consider the problem three-dimensionally.
Who do you think I am, son?
Well, juror number 4 is about the best I can do.
As soon as I saw the wounds in this man's stomach, I flipped him over.
Like a pancake. Are you saying that you checked his back?
Of course I did, and there wasn't a trace of injury. No sign the bullet had left.
The body at all. Huh. What?
That's the point. The only logical conclusion was that the bullet was still somewhere in the man's innards. Which is exactly why I said about slicing him up. I'm still none the wiser even now. How many times do I have to say it? Can somebody please explain how it happened? Can somebody please solve the mystery?
It's almost as much of a mystery how this jury was put together.
The mystery of whether that bullet ended up is infuriating. Where's an expert where you need one?
Well,
Objection.
just instantly.
Those two statements clearly contradict the idea that all I do is point at jurors against each other. Oh, a ballistics expert.
Pitting. P-I-T-T.
On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes was shot by one of the Skulkin brothers. But since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we must assume the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body either. Furthermore, a bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop where Mr. Sholmes was shot. Juror number 6.
Hello, my name is Ville. Pleased to meet you.
This apparent contradiction in the facts that is so clearly troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery?
I have seen a very similar situation in Motherland.
Eh?
It was night. There was blizzard. I was running away along mountain road in freezing cold. Golly! The snow was piling high both sides of road. It was very narrow and dangerous. My pursuers had hunting rifles and they were on dog sleds.
Mental note, don't ask too many questions.
I was shot from behind and fell down in snow. And the situation was very, very similar to what I heard today from doctor. I could not find bullet in body. No sign of, how do you say, exit wound.
Then where did the bullet go?
Bullet never hit me.
Well, if it never hit you, why did you fall down?
Bullet hit frozen wall of ice very close to my side.
What?
One small piece very sharp broke away from lump of ice and pierced my body. It made deep wound that looked just like bullet wound.
Huh.
Good gracious.
Of course, piece of ice quickly melted inside me, and that's the solution to mystery of disappearing bullet.
But that doesn't answer the question at all. This shooting that happened in a pawnbroker's shop. Not some snowy mountain road in another country.
Yeah. Just an idea, but we might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here.
Runo? Where exactly was Hurley shot again? Well, according to the report, in his stomach. Sort of all around this area, I think.
My sculpture shaped like a gun. It hit the ice gun, of course.
Well, that's precisely why he always wears a little pouch on his belt. A pouch? Actually, I might have noticed something like that. Yes, a pouch. It's where he keeps 3 glass vials of very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations. Where's my... Which one is it? Is this the uh-oh? I hope it is.
Uh-oh.
Oh, fuck. I think that refreshed the chat.
Uh-oh.
Got it? Okay. I accidentally refreshed the chat, too, so I played it twice just to be sure. What? Really?
Doctor, where's the pouch Mr. Sholmes was wearing?
The fellow had nothing like that on his person when he arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember.
If I may.
Lord Van Zeeks?
While I realize it's forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a summation examination, I should inform the defense I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom.
May I see it? I'm sorry.
As I understand it, when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound.
Thank goodness. I was getting forgetful for a moment.
Since then has been my safekeeping along with all other evidence relating to the case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred. Very well, while extremely unconventional during a summation examination, I must demand the prosecution presents the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Herlock Sholmes' pouch. I see. So this is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes on the night in question, is it?
Look at that. One of the files is broken and the letter around it is scorched black. It's almost as if the file exploded.
Exploded?
So, that night, the bullet from the Skulkin brothers' gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch, and the glass file exploded and caused the fellow's injury.
This bullet did not penetrate the victim, but was deflected into a wall of shop. A delightfully complex aroma. Well, it would appear one mystery has been solved at least. Though it was no bearing on the truth of this case. That bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of the case remain unaltered.
But the mystery is solved. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man.
Thank you very much.
Glad I could help.
Due to its bearing on the conundrum just solved, the court will sequester this scruffy pouch as evidence.
Hurley's pouch isn't scruffy. One of the glass files is smashed and there are scorch marks around it. Okay.
Now, the summation exam. Hold up.
It's really scorched badly, just here. Oh, the strap is broken, look. It's supposed to be where the bullet hit, then. Let me see.
Wait, what? What? Huh?
What the? Iris, look! Behind where the broken file was, do you see it? That's the Skulkin brothers' bullet! What a stroke of luck that hit his pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is, there were 3 bullets fired at Windibanks that night. Yeah, that opens things up, doesn't it? We found exactly what that juror was talking about. The 3rd bullet. It's time to press that juror again, I think.
Third bullet has been entered into the court record. Let's go! It would appear the defense is somewhat struggling to alter opinion. Please, my lord, a little more time. After all, that's a new piece of evidence. It'll be a valuable clue. You can't afford to overlook anything here, Ryunosuke. There's still a way to turn this around, somehow. I'm sure of it. Accuses of the theft of him for a busy day. A ballistics expert have seen many shootings and numerous.
And he always turns up at just the right moment.
Does he always come in the form of a pouch? Seriously though, it sounds like the great detective was on death's door. Maybe his injuries won't be for nothing. Don't breathe the whistle on my assistance. Only 2 bullet. Hey, guess what? Wait, how can I wait? How am I? Wait. It's a number of bullets that has you convinced?
Only 2 bullets are fired, and the 2 guns that fired them have been examined by the police. When the parlor maid asks me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings.
Well, that's logical, I suppose.
Although,
Yes.
sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. 1 or 2 guests rather like the fine china.
Does your employer dine with thieves?
So I suppose, if there was another bullet somewhere of which we were unaware, I have to reconsider my position.
A 3rd bullet? Could that be possible? I can prove it! Allow me to show you then. The 3rd bullet! Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question in Windibank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired.
Hold it!
What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjurer?
Chill, chill, chill.
Where did you find that bullet? It was lodged inside Mr. Sholmes' pouch. What? This pouch was removed from around Sholmes' waist before he was taken to hospital. Since then, it has been touched by no one. Is this the first time that Van Zeek's done a hold it? I think so. Because that was a new voice line to me. Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulkin brothers that night? Yes. As your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch. But that makes no sense whatsoever. We already know the whereabouts of the bullet fired at Mr. Sholmes. It's clearly visible in this photographic print. 2 guns from the scene have already been submitted into the court record as evidence. Yes, that of Mr. Windibank and belonging to the Skulkin brothers. And that examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each.
That must mean...
That's right. We now know that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene. And until that incontrovertible inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. Hell yeah, get his ass, get his ass. Order, order! While this summation examination remains incomplete, this court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case for the defendant has been built. As is my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination. But, by Jupiter! What? Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once. Alright, we're getting somewhere. Hell yeah, hell yeah. The Mario Brothers and the 3rd one. Witnesses. Governor! Were you listening to proceedings while the defense was carried out in the summation examination?
We was, Governor, we was.
Perhaps we could dispense with the tedious preamble. Simply answer this one question. A 3rd bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that?
Make of it, Gov? I don't make nothing of nothing if I can help it.
Is it one of yours?
God blimey, Gov! God blimey! Not a chance!
In that case, did you have an accomplice?
What? What? No, never! The Skulkin brothers work alone! It's just the 2 of us! That's our trademark!
How soon we forget poor Sulky. Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. The 3rd bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it?
Let me, that's a head scratcher.
Yes, indeed, yes. Counsel, For the defense. Yes? I should like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The third bullet and the mysterious missing firearm from whence it came. Thinking back over all the testimony we've heard and all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture. A picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this third bullet tells us about the Skulkin brothers. They had a secret accomplice, they had another gun, it's nothing to do with them. I mean, they could both have guns, right? I'm thinking since they're sweating about it, I think they're lying, though. I think they might have had an accomplice that they don't want to talk about. Because, you know, they don't want to damage their brand. On that night in the Windibank's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a third man. The witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of this accomplice, but the evidence all points to the fact that there was someone else present. Someone carrying a gun.
Objection!
Damn it, I can't do the pouring water sound again. I already did that earlier.
An accomplice, you say? Pigswill.
These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 summation examinations. Yet in all that time, there has been not a murmur of a third man. If this apparently wraith-like being exists, the court must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. The prosecution demands answers by 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. And secondly, the identity of this spurious character. How many houses do you own? There's just like a, you know, like a hammer space? He has a chalice space. He just summons them. The Skulkins are lying, I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they're hiding? Well, counsel, I'm supposed to prove the existence of this accomplice and reveal the person's identity, even. In response to the prosecution's demand, my lord, the defense is, ready to present answers? The defense is ready. I believe I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands. So, my Nepalese friend, despite the swimming eyes, you seem to think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting. Why do you keep doing that? I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it will make a difference. In that case, counsel, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene? I mean, is the third bullet not enough? Like, that is, I would say, personally, that is more than enough, but they're implying something else. Wait, what? Alright, hit me with your theory, buddy. I just remembered. What? Wait, I think I'm remembering. Fuck, wait. Yeah, First off, eggfucker, that's great. Could your password be eggfucker1, eggfucker2, eggfucker... Shut the fuck up, Shadow! Okay. Yeah, you have a point. And it was green! It was green!
Take that!
The evidence is right here, in this portfolio. By Jove, that portfolio again, is it? I guess you could say there's green eggs. But where's the ham? Do you expect this court to rifle through your papers itself? Be more specific. You claim one of the blood samples proves the presence of this third intruder. Well, which one is it?
Take that!
What am I looking at here? There appears to be some green paint on such like around the bullet hole in the middle of this calendar. It's a bloodstain, my lord. A bloodstain? Green blood? Curious even for you. What's next? Pink? Is the court to understand that the intruder was some unhuman creature? It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
By the great detective!
New invention. Stop. Not yet appeared in stories. Stop.
It's this, you see. It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger sprays a chemical that reacts with the different elements in people's blood to change its color.
Different elements of people's blood.
Yes, everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what color it changes, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is. Oh, that brings a whole extra dimension to looking at the blood.
Talk of blood in courtroom. Stop. Very exciting. Stop. As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Windibank.
Ah, striking blue.
Yes, so you see, the green color of this blood stain on the calendar shows that somebody else was shot in the main part of the shop.
Now hold fire there, young man. Could be for some unrelated incident, couldn't it?
No, it's not unrelated. The date showing on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Windibank was killed.
By golly!
Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day.
Then whose blood is it?
Well, the Skulkin brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else.
Objection!
Whose identity the court is still waiting to hear? You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder?
Eggy boy, we still don't know how old he is.
Take that!
I'm guessing mid-20s with that face. This man's name is Eggert Benedict.
Eggert Benedict? What on earth are you talking about, Counsel? Is this... Am I being joked with?
He paid a visit to Windibank's pawnbrokery on the afternoon before the incident took place. When the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into her possession. That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Eggert Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force.
Broker. Yes, sir.
I did miss doing this fucking overly pompous voice, though.
I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you now. Yes, sir. The article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once.
Now that's a lie! What are you trying to pull?
Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel, and needless to say, any music box discs too.
Uh-huh. Inspector Gregson was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc.
Can you corroborate this account, Inspector?
Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. And in the interest of being thorough, I asked Windibank for a print showing the fella. Taken from one of his red-handed recorder Gubbinses.
That's him! That's him talking to Mr. Windibank that morning!
And you claim this man is the brother's accomplice?
Well, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin? Well, Mr. and Mr. Skulkin?
I never seen the geezer before in me life.
On me life, Gov, on me life! Never seen him.
Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion.
I'm sure your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion. Which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice. Yes, and I can.
And show us the evidence.
I agree, we must see proof!
This is the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling that something has been missing in this trial from the very start. But now, I'm gonna drag it kicking and screaming into the courtroom.
Are you ready to present your answer to the court then, counsel?
Yes, my lord. The defense will present the evidence now. Proof the man pictured in this photographic print was in fact the person struck by the third bullet. I really went the long way about it, huh?
Take that!
As I mentioned before, on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully admittedly, to reclaim this disc from Windibanks, which is when the aforementioned Egbert Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. This man then attempted to purloin the article from the defendant's possession. No. That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred.
Yeah, but of course, sir, here's the disc for you. Very well. Then I shall bid you farewell. I must snap, crackle, and pop out of this bitch. Say goodbye to style.
Wait a minute! That disc! It's mine! I'm gonna snap, crackle, and pop your fucking bones, you geezer!
Well, what do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal.
Being a music box disc, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions over its surface. These protrusions cause Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed, and the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now.
Goodness, a bloodstain, is it?
My assistant and I have just analyzed the bloodstain here in this very courtroom.
Using my trusty fogger gun.
Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio. As Benedict fucking dies. Good, but also, that would bring the case to an abrupt end. I'd rather he die after we prove his guilt.
It's green. It's exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar.
The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Egbert Benedict, who was in Windibanks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night.
So there was someone else there. Look at those two brothers now. They're sweating buckets.
Oi, who are you talking about? It's boiling in here. My lord, it is the opinion of the defense that Mr. Egbert Benedict should be summoned to the court to testify.
Well, it would certainly seem that we can ill afford to ignore this gentleman's apparent presence.
Objection!
This has gone on long enough now, this flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Sherlock Sholmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name.
That was a while ago, buddy. Try to keep up.
The protagonist in a series of short stories for the vulgar classes. A god of detection or some shit. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court of the land. I expect us to take you seriously. The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So the bloodstain turned the shade of green. What of it? Here's to you successfully proving that no other blood in the world would turn the same color.
Well, there's the leg.
And pray, do not even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it.
Is he right?
I don't know. I mean, he is a great detective. What are you talking about? We can't let him get away with that. I knew it would come to this. Of course, Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognized by any official body. But what other choice did I have?
I'm just remembering what Father Christmas over there said before.
Father Christmas?
He was temporarily suspending the summation examination.
Oh, that's her name for a judge. I did say he kind of looked like Santa Claus, didn't he? That's cute.
In other words, the examination isn't over yet, is it?
Good grief! What did you just say, young girl?
And in a summation examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? So the way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention.
Get him. Kick his ass. Get his ass.
At least, not for now.
Yes, she's right.
Young lady, you have quite the devious mind.
Wow. Van Zeeks, outsmarted by a 10-year-old girl.
It really just comes down to one thing. Well, these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you say, Bruno. Is that about that right, would you say? Or did I misunderstand something? Unbelievable! Mr. Sholmes' partner is a force to be reckoned with. Iris Wilson, sharpshooter!
After that shrewd precis of the situation from an entirely unexpected source, it must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion. This is absurd. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leanings in this matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions in turn, please.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Aw,
Not
shit.
guilty.
Aw, shit.
Guilty.
Fuck!
Guilty.
Not guilty.
Well, at least it's in our favor. That's good.
2 call guilty and 4 call not. Such is the outcome of the summation examination.
Objection.
My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. The prosecution refuses to accept this decision.
Cry about it.
On what grounds? If these jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to real police work, then they are too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt. I'm sorry, Lord Van Zieks, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. This trial will continue.
Got him.
Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. The defense has very reasonably requested a I look this up every time. I need to remember. Subpoena. The defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. But sadly, I fear that will be impossible.
What?
The name the gentleman gave for himself, Eggert Benedict, is quite clearly false.
Believe it. So I managed to prove the man was there that night. Could I say something?
Who was that, please? Who spoke?
It was me, my lord.
Juror number 5?
What have you to say, madam?
If possible, Inspector,
Me, ma'am?
I wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again, the one in which the gentleman is shown.
Ah, right. Yes, this one you mean, of Mr. Benedict?
Do you know something, hun? Yes, there's no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5, you don't mean to say you know this man? Yes, I know him.
What?
No! Good gracious!
Out with it. Give me names.
Juror number 5, how on earth?
I'm a communications officer. Stop. As we can clearly see, the gentleman in the photograph is... Stop. Tell us! Also a communications officer. Stop. He works in my office.
Ah. A very talented operator, in fact. He should be in the communications station now, tapping away on the telegraph. This doesn't seem right somehow. I can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right.
I suppose we all imagine the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out that he has a respectable job by day, whatever he gets up to at night.
Yeah, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why I felt like something was wrong.
If the gentleman is at London's communication station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Van Zieks, if you please.
Yes, my lord.
Make the necessary arrangements with all haste. As your lordship bids. The court will recess for 1 day. In stream time. That's 1 hour in game time. For 1 hour then. When the new witness arrives, he shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson?
Yes, my lord.
I should like to hear from you specifically about events on the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Go to my chambers during the recess.
Yes, sir, my lord.
Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m.
Aw, shit. Welp. For now, since we have reached 3.5 hours, I'm going to leave this for tomorrow. And tomorrow, we will wrap up the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. The first half of this big old collection. So for now,
thank you for coming. Thank you for staying. Thank you for watching the show. And I will see you all next time.